and get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids with a 60-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free lifetime U.S.-based support for only $197.
Call 800-587-1443.
I started hearing things I haven't heard in a long time, like the water trickling in the other room. I didn't realize how bad my hearing was until I got the hearing aids.
I've never had a better pair of hearing aids. I wear them all the time, and I'm even wearing them now. If you have hearing problems or even think you might have hearing problems, don't waste your money or time on other hearing aids. Call my friends at MD Hearing and get my favorite over-the-counter hearing aids for you.
Call now and get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids for just $197 with a free portable charging case and free shipping.
Call 800-587-1443, 800-587-1443.
All right, welcome back into First Edition. 2026 is a pretty unique year, being able to celebrate our country's 250th birthday and counting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still celebrating this week, even though, you know, the 4th was big, as the big event. But a lot of people showing their patriotism, and we've been asking people to send in their pictures of their flags.
That's awesome.
Their,
lighten up the house with it. And these pups. Thank you so much, Cece cool. And Ruben McNeely. We love these submissions here. Oh, that is an awesome flag, Chris. Thank you so much in Ramsey, New Jersey.
We love it.
Send us more.
I'm Paulina Leiser. Join me as we explore the beauty and depth of Orthodox Christianity on the ancient church, Sundays on theDove TV.
The U.S. and Iran exchanging news strikes overnight. Tensions are rising across the Middle East. Fears growing that the conflict could spiral even further. We are breaking down what happened overnight, what it means for U.S. forces, and whether diplomacy has a chance of surviving. The Democrats' hopes of flipping a key seat has taken a major hit this morning after controversy surrounding Graham Plattner's past has forced him out of the main race for a Senate seat. What this means for the battle to control the Senate now. A family fishing trip in Florida turned into a terrifying encounter. An 11-year-old boy attacked by a gator. The fight for his life after that gator pulled him underwater. John Huddy in the Everglades with the chilling details. News Now begins right now. Good morning to you. Welcome to News Now. I'm Shannon Cake. U.S. forces have now carried out a second strike, a straight night of strikes against Iran, hitting more than 90 targets now. U.S. Central Command says the operation is aimed at degrading Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping right there in the Strait of Hormuz. Middle East correspondent Jody Cohen is in Tel Aviv on the ground with
Hi, Shannon. So Iranian state media in the latest of the Bushehr nuclear power plant has been hit. And earlier, the U.S. military released a long list of targets that they have been hitting in Iran, including air defense systems, coastal surveillance assets, and missile and drone storage sites. Now, Central Command say that U.S. forces remain vigilant and ready to execute operations directed by the commander-in-chief. President Trump has warned Iran that if Iran bombs ships again, things will get much worse for them. But he also suggested that Iran wants to return to talks. Take a listen.
They want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
Now, Iran Railways have suspended trains between Tehran and Mashhad after a strike on the train track. And this comes as Ayatollah Khamenei is set to be buried today in Mashhad. His son and successor, the new Ayatollah Mujtaba Khamenei, had reportedly hoped to attend the burial, but has still not been seen in public. Meanwhile, Iran's military say they are carrying out drone attacks on American bases in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar. Jordan says that they have intercepted 8 Iranian missiles. Things in Israel have so far been quiet. We know that Israel has not participated in these strikes on Iran, but are said to be bracing for a potential renewal of fighting. Back to you.
Jody, what more can you tell us about the goal or goals of these strikes on Iran?
So Central Command has basically suggested that the goal is to protect civilian ships in the Strait of Hormuz and to degrade Iran's ability to attack them. I would also suggest that there's another goal, which is also to put increasing pressure on Iran to make a serious deal and to make one quickly. Because remember, President Trump has said that Iran needs to make a deal or the U.S. will finish the job.
So far, civilian infrastructure seems to be intact after these latest strikes. Jody Cohen on the ground out of Tel Aviv, watching it closely for us today. Thank you. Let's bring in our panel this morning. Foreign affairs expert Abdul Qadir Al-Khamenei, Al-Amhali. We appreciate you being with us. Also with us, geopolitical strategist, Black Hawk helicopter pilot, Battalion Commander Darren Gobb. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Shannon.
President Trump says good morning. President Trump is saying that the ceasefire is effectively over. That's what he said in Turkey. He sounded a bit more optimistic when you heard him speaking in Jody's reporting there on Air Force One. But overnight, the U.S. struck 90 targets again in Iran. It was 80 the night before. Iran has, then launched attacks on Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar. Where our U.S. bases are. And the president yesterday was talking about Karg Island, Darren. Let's listen to this.
We attacked Karg Island last night. We knocked out a piece. I said, don't touch the oil, because maybe we'll take over Karg Island. We may take over Karg Island. There's not a thing they can do about it.
Darren, Karg Island is 22 square miles. The Navy could use prep fire. Then Air Force comes in using drones, over-the-horizon missiles. How hard would it to be, or how hard would it to take Karg? How hard would that be?
Yeah, Shannon, ultimately right now, it wouldn't be difficult to initially occupy Karg Island after the strikes that you described. Yeah, there are Marines in the area. There are other forces in the area that could certainly take that. It would have to be done very carefully still, because you can't guarantee that Iran hasn't gone through and laid booby traps and done other things, as well as most likely, because of how we've talked about the importance of Karg Island, and they know it, they would target Karg Island with whatever assets they have remaining from when it comes to missiles and drones and things like that. And we'd be putting our forces on a fixed target that would be easy to hit. So there's a risk there that has to be acknowledged and has to be accounted for. Doesn't mean it can't be done. It's just something that we have to make sure that if we do something like that, that we've accounted for every risk, every possibility, and done everything we can to protect our forces who would be there.
Abdul, it's certainly booby-trapped. Strategically, what would be the significance of taking Karg more broadly to the region?
I think it would actually protect the strait. I mean, if America actually takes Karg Island, which they are 100% capable of doing, would really put a huge detriment on Iran's power in the region. The island in itself is very important to Iran because, of course, it's right there. Of course, it is booby-trapped, which is why I think if U.S. actually takes it, it would be a huge detriment to Iran itself.
Yeah, this is a response from Iran. Meanwhile, Darren, Trump has once again spoken of occupying Karg Island. Come on, they write. We are waiting for you, and we promise not even a single American soldier will return alive. Do we have to put boots on the ground to take Karg?
Well, and that's going to be a very substantial argument, even within CENTCOM headquarters. I guarantee they're talking about, what is the effect they're seeking by talking about the Karg Island, and can you achieve that effect by not putting boots on the ground on the island itself, but rather isolating it from Iran in some other way. That may be possible as well. So, granted, this statement is way over the top. It's not something that's ever going to actually happen as far as no American soldier would return alive. And they know that, but they're preaching to an internal audience as much as they are to anybody externally. In the end, if it has the effect that it could have on Iran by us physically taking it, it may be worth the risk. I just want to make sure that the other options are not discounted either, that you could isolate it via other means as well, without destroying the infrastructure too.
Sure, absolutely, which would be critical and the whole reason you would take it, right? Abdul, the president said that he's going to let the negotiations continue with Iran, but he's not optimistic. Are you?
Not at all. The MOU was done to have negotiations happen, but since Iran in itself disobeyed the MOU itself,
other countries. But in the meantime, Iran has vowed themselves to close the Strait of Hormuz and maintain the waterways. That's what they said. And they said if the bombing from the United States continues, quote, following any strike against Iran, two immediate actions will be taken. First, the Straits of Hormuz will be completely closed to all maritime traffic. And second, Iran will strike enemy targets at a ratio at least 2 to 1. Well, it appears now that Iran is a paper tiger. A lot of talk, a lot of blowhard, a lot going on. Doesn't seem to be materializing into anything. The conflict is there. I'm not sure what the president says by the term quickly.
Yeah.
What's quickly mean?
Well,
I don't know what quickly means.
Your guess is good as mine, but this threat of them closing the strait and affecting shipment worldwide is not going to just impact our relationship. You talk about Kuwait and UAE and Bahrain. I mean, all these countries. And if you look at history, military conflicts do not start because someone formally declares a war. For the most part, they usually start when you disrupt economies, shipments, have some kind of military intervention. So this is just to say that it is serious, and we'll see how these boys on the big stage handle it.
Okay. Says, as you know, the president was in Turkey meeting with the NATO partners. This is pretty amazing because he's there among the NATO partners criticizing them.
Oh.
And I would say that basically one of the arguments that the president makes that I think is legitimate is that NATO's never paid its fair share. We have put billions and billions and billions of dollars into NATO, and when we ask for a little help, no help in return. And that is in his craw. He's upset about it, and I think you would have to say rightfully so.
Yeah.
Okay. He went after Spain yesterday, or day before yesterday, and basically said to Spain, you're worthless. Now, this is an ally. We're going to stop trading with you, and have a nice day. We're done with you. 24 hours later, Spain announces, well, I guess we'll start paying our share in NATO. So he's using the economic arm. But, you know, this is leadership. And I think what we don't realize, if you take the United Nations and NATO, these are two organizations that diluted America's sovereignty worldwide. And we ended up becoming the bank of these two organizations. And the president comes along and says, no, that's over. And it takes a businessman to do that. It doesn't take a politician to do that. It takes a businessman who looks at ROI, return on investment. And so he went on to criticize some other NATO people, and he was talking about Germany, and was talking about, you know, France and others, saying, you guys, you know, here we are, we bail you out, we give you money, we put military bases there to protect you, we've done all this, we put our hand up for a little help, and you guys run and hide.
Yeah.
He's pretty ticked off about it.
Well, about Iran and also about Greenland. I was kind of surprised that resurfaced. It's not just a joke anymore. He's pretty serious about this island, which is the biggest in the world, but he was upset with them that they're not really supporting his feelings toward that as a very strategically significant place that needs to be paid attention to.
I think before he leaves office, Greenland will be, some action will be taken about Greenland. If you look at the Monroe Doctrine, there's two countries that fit within the Monroe Doctrine very well. The first one is Cuba, and the second one is Greenland. And they're both now on the radar screen, so to speak. But, you know, what's the Netherlands going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Well, right now they're saying that they're not going to sell. Denmark is saying we're not going to be selling it. But Trump knows how to buy things, so we'll see.
He knows how to do the deal.
It was interesting to see all these countries gathering in NATO, I mean, in Turkey.
In Turkey.
Of all places. And
And, you know, you have to go back to the beginning of some of the Middle East history about Turkey. At one time, it was an ally to Israel and everything else. Now it's just, you know, it's an enemy. You got Erdogan there, and you kind of go, well, who is this guy? Is he a chameleon? He went from a full-blown terrorist to a nice guy wearing a suit. Who is he?
I know that, I don't know about being a full-blown terrorist, but I think a lot of people do misunderstand Turkey. There are a lot of misconceptions. People, just like with many other countries in the world, don't even know where it's located.
Another one. Yeah.
But it's a very strategically important country. It has access to Black Sea. It's like a buffer between Middle East and Russia and all the other ones.
Right.
It's a beautiful country. It's one of the tourist destinations for many people in Europe and Russia. And so if you visit it, I'm sure you'll be blown away by how just gorgeous it is. It's not just a medieval nation that has nothing to offer. It's a pretty important piece of land and country. So I'm glad to see that they're thriving.
Well, they met there. We'll see where it goes. But I just, you kind of wonder, you have to ask the question. You have a president that's, he's a business tycoon, you know, and he goes in there and he sits down. No other president in history has sit down in NATO and criticized him.
But I guess when you pay the biggest portion of
so why haven't we done that kind of criticism before? Where was Bush? Where was Clinton? Where was Obama? Where was Biden going to NATO and say, you guys, you know what? We've been giving you a free sandwich for years. What's the deal here? You know?
That's the
yeah.
What is it? $1 million question?
The $1 million question. All right. The other one is, well, Graham Plattner apparently bowed out of the Maine senatorial race yesterday after immense pressure for all of his allegations and scandals, and he is finally out of the race. I don't know what to think of this. I will say one thing about John Fetterman. By the way, could you get me? I'd like to interview him.
I can try. Yes.
You know what's interesting about that? John Fetterman, who in himself is an interesting guy, called on all of his Democratic colleagues that endorsed this guy to apologize. He said, AOC needs to apologize, the people in New York need to apologize, Bernie Sanders needs to apologize. And he went down this list of people and said, those Democrats need to apologize for not only endorsing this guy, but advancing him up to this point.
That's the question I had as I was reading the headline you sent me. Yeah. This was not just a sudden pop-up. He's had a long list of endorsements.
Right.
He's been really pushed by the party. So is the vetting process broken? Or what is this? Yes, it's a scandal and it's got some gruesome details, but, and whether it's true or not, that's, you know, time will show, but what does it reveal about the party and how these candidates are vetted and presented to us?
Well, that's a great question. I think this is evidence, yes, their vetting process is broken. B, they have nobody on the bench. This is what they got for a bench. And you kind of go, this is it? And then, guess what? In spite of all of these allegations and his colorful background, they jumped on him and endorsed him. In fact, if you watch The View, and I'm paraphrasing, The View said, even though he's morally bankrupt, we need to put him in office because he's better than what we are seeing now in the way of how the country is going. We need him to save the country. So that just shows you the blind loyalty. But the only thing I can say is that he's out. I don't know what they do now. They're going to scramble and try to put all of his money and endorsement on somebody else. And here's the other thing. I'd like to know who got him out. Who met with him and said, Graham, you're not only toast, you're burnt toast. And you need to get out. And by the way, all your money's going to go to this candidate.
One of the reports I was listening to this morning said that the DNC have been pressuring him and his team to step out. And then they actually had to have a meeting at his house where different people came and they pretty much made him decide because he's now a toxic candidate. And they have until July 27th to replace him. And that's, of course, the race for the seat that Susan Collins is running for. And she's, I think, 5-term senator.
Right.
And so an important seat. And I don't know, do you think it helps her, or does it still give Democrats a chance to put someone in there that can beat her?
Well, you know, she was hoping he stayed in. I think Republicans are great at fumbling the ball. They really are.
Yeah.
You could hand it to them and they'll drop it.
And Democrats are great at exploring a scandal and a crisis.
So you have a scandal here. You've got the whole thing is politicized. Let's go back to how they pushed Joe Biden to be the Republican or to be the Democratic candidate even after the disaster of the first debate, and they kept him in the race. Okay, yeah. So you kind of got the same thing playing out.
Or the second time, how they pushed him out, and then Kamala Harris became the candidate.
Yeah, so they used him, and then they did that, and finally got. So the only thing I can say, is, and then of course it's disaster. Is this another Kamala Harris thing in the making here? It could be. The Republicans, gosh. You got to stop back and say, you've just been handed something here. Now, Susan Collins is a rhino, okay? She's purple. But the point being is, if they can say, well, this is who you put forward, now we're going to trust you to endorse this person over here, I mean, and then it's going to be seen as political and all this and that. I think they've been handed. I just don't know if the if the RNC is ready to take advantage of this. It's kind of like what's happening in the state of Oregon. The state of Oregon is handing the governorship to the Republicans and some seats in the Republican or in the state legislature, both in the House and the Senate. The question is, can we get our act together to capitalize on this?
Can we?
Well, I sure hope so. I'm hoping and I'm believing and I'm praying that way because we've never had the door open this far for us to go all the way through. Christine's a great candidate. We just got to, you know, it all boils down to this. We can sit here and talk all day. If people don't vote, it doesn't happen. 32% turnout in the state of Oregon for the midterm.
Is it on a candidate? Or I understand that some people will never vote because Christ is coming tomorrow and who cares?
Yeah.
But at this point, should it be the party that is encouraging? Should there be campaigns going on? Should it be us in the media? Should it be Christine encouraging people to vote? How do we get, I mean, we can talk about low voter turnout, like you said, all day long, but how is it changed? Who's responsible?
Well, you can point the finger in a lot of directions there. I have to ask the question, do people really care? You know, it's not a matter of being informed. Let me give you a little case in point. All you got to do is go to a party, sit down, and everybody's got an opinion. But they don't vote. But they have an opinion. So it's not that they're not informed. Mm-hmm. Something hasn't connected with their soul where they're convicted. Or they have this spirit of apathy. Actually, it's a disease. It's a cancer. Why bother? Especially Christians. Oh, well, this is end times. You know, let Jesus come. We're going to be held responsible for that.
I wonder if, and that's again, we're starting a totally new conversation, but I wonder with some of the people in the MAGA movement too, it's going to be an issue this year because of those who are dissatisfied with what they voted for, who are saying Trump did not live up to their expectations. And because, I mean, he had great turnout of voters, and some of them are disappointed. So to them, it's a sign that, okay, so I voted, but the candidate didn't do what he said he's going to do. So there are always those people, too.
There are those. I think the one thing the president has going for him, his personality is his biggest negative, but the one thing he has going for him is the economy is roaring. Okay, gas prices are the only thing that's floating out there, and once they get this straight thing worked out. But if you look at the economic numbers as a whole, it's roaring, and the residual effect of that hopefully will carry it through the midterms. We'll see. But I'm wondering if corporate America is willing now to turn their back on the president, because corporate America normally is very liberal. Mm-hmm. But now they're making so much money, do they really want to close that door and go back to a president that will shut all those doors again? You know, we'll see.
Good question.
Good question. All right, those are some of the top stories. Tony is here to straighten it all out, and we're going to take, do we have anything today?
Sugar cookies.
Oh, that's right, sugar cookies.
Do we have any here? No, but we have some veggies there.
There's some Costco croissants over there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back. All right,
sprinkle some sugar on them.
Okay.
Visit fishlakeresorts.net today to learn more and plan your visit.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America.
That liberty is God-given, not government-granted.
You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs.
You and I cannot afford to be casual about what God has actually said in His Word regarding the future.
Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching.
The Bible warns us to avoid private interpretations.
Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice a biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Orthodox Christianity has existed for 2,000 years. Yet many people know very little about its history, its worship, or the ancient Christian faith it preserves. Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser. Join me each week as we explore the beauty and depth of this historic Christian tradition and its place in the modern world.
Don't miss The Ancient Church, conversations about Orthodox Christianity, Sundays at 6 p.m. on theDove TV.
Okay, good morning to you. Happy Thursday, Friday Eve. Paulina's here, you know, summertime.
Yeah, kind of winding down.
Do you like watermelon?
No, that's one thing.
That was good. Yeah, you were the one that doesn't like it.
Yeah, unfortunately. I love watermelon drinks, chewing gum, whatever. Watermelon flavor, but the watermelon itself, the way it tastes, I don't know. I was always that odd child that everyone else was enjoying it, and I sat there in the corner eating a melon. Because I love melons and cantaloupes and all those, which you don't like.
I don't like cantaloupe.
Yeah.
But on a hot summer day, a big slice of watermelon is kind of...
Do you put salt in it?
You know, I have, but no, not normally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Patrick loves watermelon, so...
You put salt on it?
Yeah.
He does?
And it's so rehydrating.
Yeah.
He does it always after hiking.
Good stuff. All right, good morning to you. 26 minutes past the hour. A little backyard news. We're talking about Oregon and whether or not we're going to see a change in direction with the upcoming election. Here's an announcement. The major cuts are coming to the Oregon Health Plan. The state's free health care system, covering 1.4 million children and low-income adults, could see a $421 million cut because of the hole in the budget. So the question is, how did this happen? How did these problems sneak up? How come nobody is tracking it? Is this management oversight? I mean, there has to be a trend that you're running out of money and then all of a sudden it's a crisis.
Yeah. Well, and it's not the first time. This is not unprecedented. It has happened before, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to start throwing people off. No. But it will probably be reduced services, reduced coverage.
That's exactly what they're doing, and it goes into the 2-year biannual budget thing. But $421 million, yep, there'll probably be some cuts in services and things like that. So, anyway, that's some of our backyard news. Let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on, and severe clear is the weather pattern. I was talking to a pilot the other day, and he said, I said, what are you guys flying at? He said, oh, we're up around 28, 30,000 feet. And I go, well, gosh, that's where the airlines are. And he goes, no, we're kind of either above them or below them, these corporate jet guys, you know. And I said, how far can you see? You see forever. He said, there's just no clouds out there.
So you can fly above? That's totally fine for the...
Yeah, you get assigned an altitude depending on where you're going and how far you're going to go and all that stuff. But yeah, they get up there and they're flying around, and all of a sudden you're looking down and you go, wow, you can just see forever, you know.
Beautiful.
So it's beautiful weather.
You can see whether the Earth is flat.
You
can see whether the Earth is flat.
Yeah, well, let's see. If you go out over the ocean at night, and you, let's say you fly west and you get out over the water, right at sunset, and then you turn around your plane and look back, and where you can see the lights of the shoreline, you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Have you done that, or you just seen? I mean, I'm just curious. Have you ever flown over the ocean?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, me personally as a pilot? No,
yeah. Okay.
No. The only farthest I did was I flew out over and back of Catalina Island. Never landed out there.
Oh, that must have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, one of the Focus Today guests that we truly miss is Dr. Gerard Lamero. He was a regular here, but he was known for forecasting models. He studied those. He could predict things, but not because he liked or disliked someone. He really had a science to it. And he also followed economics, politics, all that. Well, I got sucked into listening to his interviews yesterday. And his last one he did with us in 2021, so 5 years ago. He and Perry talked about the Democratic Party and the future of it. And back then, Dr. Lamero warned that the Democratic Party was heading towards political collapse. Here's what he said 5 years ago.
One of the things I've done in forecasting is I've gone back into history. A good place to start with forecasting is to look at what's happened in the past and try to trend off of it. And I went back to 1789 and I looked at major trends in the U.S., and there are kind of intermediate trends, short-term trends, and big trends. And one of them I identified back in 2015 was the fact that the political parties do change every roughly 24 to 36 years in major ways. And I identified then and wrote the book Great News for America, which came out in January, I believe, 2016, that the Democratic Party, as we knew it in 2015, is over. And I believe it is over. It is over now. I think 2016 election was the start of the demise of the Democratic Party, and it is in process, but in effect, it's effectively out of business. The things it stood for, it no longer stands for. It used to be the party of the workers. It used to be the party of the little guy. It used to be the party that said it tried to help minorities. But what has happened? It is now the party of the rich. It's the party of the affluent. It's the party of the people in charge. It's the party of billionaires. It's the party of hedge fund managers. It's the party of big unions and big labor and big corporations that want to stifle free speech. That's not the Democratic Party of old. That's not the Democratic Party of JFK. It's not the Democratic Party of Scoop Jackson or many other Democrats. It's a different party, and I think it needs a name change, and I call it the Socialist Party, because that's what I think it effectively is.
That was prophetic. So,
what happened?
Yeah, I miss him dearly, but that is prophetic. It's exactly what's happening, and it's now in the news. Even legacy media, now some of the far left legacy media doesn't do this, but it's moving from being the Socialist Party to being the Marxist Party or the Communist Party. And so we're watching this redefinition right underneath our nose, and we're watching them split right underneath our nose. I don't know what the traditional, if I can use the term Bob just uses it, the traditional Democrat, I don't know what they do. If they leave the party, it's certainly not going to go to Republican, so they go to this mushy middle. But does the mushy middle lean left or right? Do you have any idea?
I don't, but Bob Just will be on the show next Friday.
Oh, so we'll talk about that. Okay. Well, the mushy middle, I believe, always leans geographically. So the mushy middle in the Tri-County area up in northern Oregon will lean left. The mushy middle out in the eastern Oregon and down here in southern Oregon will probably lean right.
But can it become, like you said, the traditional Democrat? Can you restore the traditional values of the Democratic Party, or is it far gone?
I think,
Dr. Romero said.
Well, I don't think the Democratic Party will reform itself back to what it was. So Tucker Carlson's playing around about creating his own party. Is that the group he's going for?
Oh, the
is he going to go for
Democrats?
Is he going to go for the traditional Democrat and the mushy Republican? I'll put it that way.
I don't know, because I mean,
he's thinking about starting a third party, which I think is a waste of time, you know. But
right.
Yeah.
But Tucker Carlson is, when it comes to social issue, he's very conservative, pro-life, family values. So I don't know if he'll go for the Dems in that sense, but.
But who's he going to track? But who's he going to track by forming a party? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe dissatisfied MAGA.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those who are not. I don't know. I haven't studied his proposal yet.
Okay.
Maybe for tomorrow.
Okay. Sugar cookies, huh?
Yes, I'll have a sugar cookie tonight, and.
Do you want the croissant over there with a little butter on it, or peanut butter on it?
Butter would be fine.
Do you like peanut butter?
I do. I haven't had peanut butter probably in like 6 months. I know. I see it. I know where to find it in this town. Milligan Way.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Sing along.
In a world desperately seeking truth, Cliff Connectley and his son Stuart travel across the U.S. to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
What is the evidence that Muhammad spoke the truth? What is the evidence that Jesus Christ spoke the truth?
Their mission is to ignite a passion for truth, guide individuals to embrace faith, and help people find purpose, engaging skeptics.
It kind of sounds like then that God punished us. The vast majority of chaos in nature is a direct result of God stepping back.
They're driven by a deep commitment for spreading the message of Christ to a world who needs it.
But you see, what Satan has done is he's put doubt in our mind.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts, sharing the love of Jesus with an unwavering dedication.
Because God loves you, and God has given you gifts.
Watch Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on theDove TV.
All right, welcome back. Happy Thursday. Polina's here, and I'm over here somewhere, and we're having a good time.
All is good in the world.
Oh, yes, you know, it's summertime. What's your favorite season?
Spring.
Okay.
I love the waking up of everything. Days are getting longer, the weather is getting nicer, flowers are blooming. You're in anticipation of this beautiful, nice, relaxing summer season. I know you love fall.
Yeah, well, my first response is my best season is always the next one coming up, because you know you're ready for the change, you know. Yeah. But my first would be fall, because an old country boy, that's when harvest took place, you know. So I would say fall, spring, and then I would say possibly winter than summer.
Oh, really? So summer is your least favorite in that hierarchy?
I just don't like really hot weather. It drags me down.
Really?
Yeah.
It
makes me kind of lethargic.
Feel like you're in the Bahamas enjoying your life?
If I was If it was 75 degrees, okay.
That's the perfect weather.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind, 60 degrees with a sweatshirt and shorts. But when it gets up into the 90s and stuff, I go, I don't know. Me and the dog would just lay on some cold concrete.
See? That's perfect.
All right, good morning to you. Let's check in with CBN News. Our friends there, they always do a great job talking about with the strikes there in the Straits of Hormuz over the last 24 hours.
President Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is over. He added that peace negotiations might continue, but he believes they're a waste of time.
Yesterday, the United States struck dozens of Iranian targets in response to attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran retaliated with attacks on U.S. targets in the region. Julie Stahl has the story.
Speaking with reporters at the NATO summit in Turkey, President Trump said he can't trust the Iranians to negotiate.
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
He said negotiators Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner want to continue, but he'll make the final decision.
As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars.
The U.S. carried out strikes on Iranian military targets after attacks on 3 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. called it a clear violation of the ceasefire. American forces hit more than 80 Iranian targets, including air defenses, radar sites, and dozens of Revolutionary Guard boats, to limit attacks on international shipping in the strait. Iranian state media reported explosions near Qeshm Island and in the southern port cities of Bandar Abbas and Sirik. Washington also revoked the sanctions waiver that authorized Iran to sell crude oil on international markets, warning the memorandum in effect with Iran is entirely performance-based. Iran will only reap benefits if they exhibit good behavior. The Islamic Republic threatened a crushing response and has retaliated with missile fire targeting U.S. military assets in Bahrain and Kuwait. Iran's parliament speaker wrote on X, "The era of bullying and extortion is over. It leads nowhere. We don't fold." As tensions rise with Iran, President Trump met with Turkey's President Erdogan at the NATO summit in Ankara, highlighting what he calls their strong personal relationship.
Sometimes you get along with the toughest people, like him, and sometimes you don't get along with the weakest, most pathetic people.
President Trump signaled he is leaning towards approving fighter jet sales to Ankara.
Something certainly we consider.
Israel quickly pushed back. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in an interview on CNN that he spoke several times with President Trump before the NATO summit, urging him to keep Turkey out of the F-35 program.
Notwithstanding the personal friendship that President Trump has with Erdogan, it doesn't make Turkey a friendly or a friendly state to the United States.
He also accused Turkey of being infected with the Muslim Brotherhood and a threat to Israel and Europe. Greece is also raising concerns, warning an F-35 sale to Turkey could upset the military balance in the Aegean. Athens is pressing ahead with its biggest defense modernization in decades, preparing to acquire the Israeli-backed Achilles Shield air defense network. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, the real enemy, and we have to identify the real enemy here, is the radical Islamic ideology that calls for the destruction of the nation of Israel. And so when you hear from the river to the sea, that identifies who that is. They're calling for a genocide of the Jewish people. And quite obviously it's anti-Semitic, but it's also deeply rooted in this Islamic ideology that comes out of the Muslim Brotherhood, that there has to be a resumption of a caliphate, there has to be establishment of Sharia law throughout the Middle East and throughout the world. So as long as we're clear on what the ideology is behind all of this, then the actions get very clear. Of course, you can't negotiate with Iran. They have it within their tradition that they can completely lie to an infidel, and that's okay. And they can deceive, and they can conceal, and they can do all of these things because it's all in the advance of Islam. For Erdogan, he wants a restored Ottoman Empire. He thinks that's the dream time. And guess who wants to be the caliphate? Well, he does. So why give him that kind of weaponry that would allow him to have air superiority over every nation around him? That is, in my view, an incredible mistake, because the ideology underneath him is Muslim Brotherhood. It is reestablishing the Ottoman Empire, reestablishing the caliphate. So let's get clear on the enemy. The enemy is the thought pattern that somehow or other Sharia law has to be the law of the land everywhere. And until we really recognize that's what this is, they're trying to establish complete political society control over everything in a culture. And until we awaken to that, we're always going to be into this sort of strange, who do we negotiate with? Go back and look at the picture of Erdogan and Trump and just look at that woman translator to the left of Erdogan and the outfit she's forced to wear. Now, do you want that around the world? Do you want that here in the United States? For me, no, absolutely not. So let's resist it with everything we have, because they clearly want to expand.
Yeah.
Who was he talking about?
Thank you.
Erdogan's wife?
Well, no, that, but I mean, he's primarily talking about the overall goal of.
No, he was talking about someone who was wearing the suit.
Oh, well, you got Erdogan himself putting a suit on.
Yeah,
and his wife, so look, the bottom line here is I don't know of any Americans now that are comfortable with negotiating with Iran or any of its proxies. I haven't run into one American say, well, let's just give them what they want. Well, it's proven that you give them what you want, you're at the losing end of the deal. So I don't know where this is going to go. I don't. Who knows? So far we haven't. So far we don't even have an MOU.
Well, and it goes back to what you were saying in the beginning when it was first published. Maybe it wasn't as strong of an MOU as everyone was saying, because it allowed for all these cracks in it.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks later.
So here's the question: is all along, is this part of the negotiating tool? In other words, let's put out a weak MOU to illustrate to the world who these people really are, that they won't even come to something that helps them.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the long game like that, yes.
All right, let's take a look at the weather, because it's nice and you may want to take the rest of the day off.
Here's a look at your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s this evening. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue across the region. Salem and Eugene reach 83, while Albany and Corvallis top out near 82 with a calm north wind. Sunny across central Oregon, with afternoon highs ranging from the mid to upper 80s through Pineville, Bend, and Sun River. Boise turns much hotter with a high of 95. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay starts with patchy fog before turning sunny and 67. Port Orford stays sunny and breezy with a high of 65. Brookings near 59, and Crescent City is mostly sunny with a high of 64. In southern Oregon, sunny weather continues. Grants Pass warms to 89, Medford 92, Ashland 88, and Cloud Falls reaches 89 before returning to the 50s overnight. Across northern California, sunny skies in Wairika with a high of 94, sunny and hot in Redding at 104, and Chico at 99, while Fort Bragg stays mostly sunny and 58. In the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs in the mid-80s. San Francisco sees mostly sunny near 70, and San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, sunny conditions in Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reaching 95. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield climb to 99 before lows tonight cool into the upper 50s and low 70s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Hi, welcome back. 13 minutes before the hour, and this day in history by our own Jerry Bilden doing this kind of interesting. Here's going back a little bit. The largest mega tsunami ever recorded happened on this day in history.
On July 9th, 1958, one of the most incredible natural disasters ever recorded unfolded in a remote Alaskan fjord. A powerful earthquake triggered the collapse of nearly 90 million tons of rock and ice into Lituya Bay. An eyewitness said it sounded like an atomic explosion and was reportedly heard 50 miles away, creating an unimaginable wall of water. The resulting mega tsunami raced across the bay and surged an astonishing 1,720 feet up the mountainside, higher than the Empire State Building, the highest tsunami run-up ever documented. The waves stripped entire hillsides bare, snapped millions of trees like toothpicks, and left a scar that's still visible today. Remarkably, because the bay was so isolated, only 5 people lost their lives. More than 6 decades later, Lituya Bay remains a dramatic reminder of the incredible power of nature.
Boy, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, a gorgeous place.
Wow, yeah.
Do you read books?
Yes, but I don't start and stop. Start and finish all the way through. I have like 4 books on my nightstand, depending on the mood.
And what are they?
Well, let's see. I have a book on Lincoln. I have morning and evening prayers by. I'll think of it here in a minute. I have the Common Book of Prayers. I have my Bible. I have a thin book that I've been reading called Rediscovering Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that.
And then you have Rush Limbaugh's.
I have the Rush Limbaugh book. Please don't misunderstand that, but his wife and brother put this book together after his passing. And this will sound weird, okay, but it's inspiring to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. I mean, it's amazing when the book has that impact, and I think many people are rediscovering books or still.
Yeah, Peggy will start a book and she'll read it all the way through, you know.
Well, and especially if it's.
I just don't have the time or the energy sometimes. You know.
Patience.
Yeah.
If it's a novel, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's a storyline, but books that you've mentioned, you perhaps could jump. Well, the reason I'm mentioning it is there is a new Pew Research Center study that shows that Americans are, in fact, still reading books. And I'm talking about print books. Even though ebooks and audiobooks continue to grow, according to the survey, 75% of U.S. adults say that they read at least part of a book, or they read at least part of a book in the last 12 months. Print remains the dominant format, with 64% saying they read a physical book, compared to 31% who read an ebook and 26% who read or listen to books. The print books have declined since 2011 if you look at the numbers, but it is pretty encouraging to see that people still go and pick it up, read it, immerse in it.
Now, you belong to a book club, right?
Yeah, and those books are usually fictions. So those I do audiobooks because it's like listening to a movie. But I do have a few books on my nightstand, and those I like to actually pick up and read. And I do love spiritual books, I love history books, and I like to mark in my books. So that's why I think I'm always going to go for some print. Because those I do like to process and go back to if I need to. So I do enjoy print books as well.
That's good for you. All right, well, pick up a book and read it. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets the Vision TV show apart. The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference, blending heartfelt storytelling with practical insight, encouraging viewers to live life with clarity, compassion, and vision. Join Alveda King and friends for The Vision, Tuesdays right here on the Dove TV.
Hi, welcome back. 7 before the top of the hour. And thank you. Yesterday, Polina got for me Mark Manella. Mark hosts the Financial Issues program from the late Dan
Celia.
Celia. We miss him dearly. But anyway, we talked about a couple of things. But in the news is the big thing called the Trump accounts.
Yes.
Did you hear the president respond to the name on this? The president yesterday was called on this. Well, why are you calling it the Trump accounts? He said, I did not want my name on it. And he said, the people that put this together said, we ought to put your name on it. And he said, no, but then they overruled him, according to him, and they called him the Trump accounts. And you got a lot of corporate America giving money to make this happen, in addition to the matching funds from the government. So I said, Mark, what is it? What are the Trump accounts? And here's what he said.
The citizens of the U.S. who are paying taxes puts in the first 1,000 through the U.S. government. And then people like Dell are contributing, but also think about Ray and Barbara Dalio. They're just contributing literally $75 million for children in Connecticut. Hey, I got a list here. Let me Brad Gerstner of Invest America reported that he's given $250 contribution to children in Indiana. Gwynne Shortwell, president of SpaceX, and her husband have donated SpaceX stocks to more than 2 million children. Harold Hamm, listed among philanthropic backers, is giving God's money. Nicki Minaj is 150. I think she's a rapper or something, but I'm not familiar with her. There's just all sorts of people giving, but we also have Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, BNY, Citi, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Charles Schwab, BlackRock, State Street Bank. I mean, I could go on now for another 5 minutes of organizations that are either matching donations from their employees to their newborn babies, or are given directly to, for example, one of the criteria some are using, or they're saying, okay, I'm going to donate X amount of billions of dollars or hundreds of millions, but I want it to go to children born in certain zip codes of low-income families.
Oh, okay.
So just a lot of wonderful ways people are contributing. But then parents can contribute too, obviously. Up to $5,000 a year, they can contribute to this. And if you think about that, it's incredible. Even if you just took $1,000, you could have $6,000 to $10,000 by the time you're 18. And if you add to it, you could have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands by the time you reach that age. It is an amazing thing that can change the direction of poverty for the first time in our country.
All right, let me just say, we're running out of time. Quickly, go to the Dove website and watch that whole interview, because there's a big caution for Christians concerning the Dove account, or the Trump accounts.
That's a good idea.
The Trump account. All right, take with you Matthew 11:29. Take my yoke upon you, Jesus said.
Season is Shine, a new inspiring program for women. Through meaningful and relatable conversations, we'll help you discover God's purpose in every season, empowering you to shine. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 4 p.m. on the Dove TV.
In today's world, we've become too used to hearing bad news. Why not help share a little good news instead? With custom-designed messages in both English and Spanish, manufactured right here in the USA. Wearing apparel from Good News Products is a small but mighty way to help lift the spirits of friends, family, coworkers, and more. Visit goodnewsproductsusa.com today. Use the QR code and take 15% off your first order. Good News Products, because everybody loves good news.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Your watchdog of liberty in the nation's capital. Washington Watch with Tony Perkins. Weeknights on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove. Encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Hi, good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Paulina is back.
And Perry is always here.
Paulina and Perry. We have Paulina and Patrick, Perry and Peggy. We've got a lot of
peace
going on. And Piper.
Where is Piper?
Oh, she's a doll.
She's enjoying the
She's
cool
such
morning.
a sweet dog. You know, we've had a lot of pooches in our life. I mean, they're all been special. This one's just kind of sweet.
Yeah, she clings to you.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I think I do know how, because I went and rescued her. And I say rescued her. You know, I brought her. Had to go all the way to Seattle to get her.
Oh, I remember in bad weather too.
In bad weather, yeah. I'm
You
driving
guys
home,
had
and
a
she's
few
underneath.
hours of-
She was about this big, and she was down underneath my feet, and she wouldn't leave. And I guess we bonded. But no, she'll snuggle up to Peggy too. She's just a sweet pooch.
Yeah, and how old is she now then?
2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was driving or trying to drive.
Oh, you were going the other way. You were trying to go to your citizenship
Yeah,
thing.
and you were getting Piper.
Yeah.
And I remember texting with Peggy because she was worried about you guys.
You turned around and came back.
Yeah, I didn't make it.
Yeah.
But you had no choice. You
I had no
to rescue
I flew to Seattle. Crazy. I don't recommend this. And I rented a car, and I couldn't find where I was supposed to meet the people to pick up the puppy. And I'm driving around, and I get lost in Seattle at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is like, you know.
Cut off time for you to get back on the freeway. And
Finally got caught up. Anyway, got the dog, and I drove all the way home from Seattle. Got home like 2 in the morning in a snowstorm.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Thursday, 2 minutes past the hour. Beautiful weather out there. A little warmer today, a little cooler yesterday. A few more degrees going the other way, and then tomorrow it comes back down a little bit. So nice stuff out there.
Yeah, well, if you have a dimple or two. Today's your day to celebrate this beautiful feature that some of us have. It's National Dimples Day, and it's also National Sugar Cookie Day.
Sugar
that
cookie.
Simple staple that came to us from mid-1700s from Pennsylvania. National Sugar Cookie Day. Your excuse to grab it with your coffee, your lunch, your dinner, and you can decorate. Well, I guess for Christmas you can decorate them in many ways, or for any other holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So enjoy your sugar cookies today. That's it.
That's it.
Just those two things.
Do you bake them?
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
You don't bake.
Why would you bake sugar cookies when you can go and buy them?
Oh, well, that's
But
right.
no, I'm just not a good baker. I can do one thing, and that's called honey cake, but that's where my baking abilities end. I guess I could probably figure it out, but I'm just not a dessert person unless I really...
Well, we need to get that little area over there lit, which is one of our things we hope to do. And then Peggy can come in there and do some baking lessons with you.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's like learning from the real pro there. I don't know if I can master that.
Oh,
we can try. We can
Okay,
try.
all right. Hey, let's check out the weather. Here's Alfred.
Here's a look at your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s this evening. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue across the region. Salem and Eugene reach 83, while Albany and Corvallis top out near 82 with a calm north wind. Sunny across central Oregon with afternoon highs ranging from the mid to upper 80s through Pineville, Bend, and Sun River. Boise turns much hotter with a high of 95. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay starts with patchy fog before turning sunny and 67. Port Orford stays sunny and breezy with a high of 65. Brookings near 59, and Crescent City is mostly sunny with a high of 64. In southern Oregon, sunny weather continues. Grants Pass warms to 89, Medford 92, Ashland 88, and Cloud Falls reaches 89 before returning to the 50s overnight. Across northern California, sunny skies in Wairika with a high of 94, sunny and hot in Redding at 104, and Chico at 99, while Fort Bragg stays mostly sunny and 58. In the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs in the mid-80s. San Francisco sees mostly sunny near 70, and San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, sunny conditions in Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reaching 95. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield climb to 99 before lows tonight cool into the upper 50s and low 70s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, and there's that iconic shot. That's looking to the southwest of the Rogue Valley. Off to the left there would be Ashland, and around that little point out there would be Jacksonville. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
But it is dry, very, very dry. So
Are we
be careful.
expecting any rain?
No, not anytime soon. Just warming temperatures, but not extremely high. You don't see any triple digits for a while, so that's good news.
All right. Well, before we get to the headlines, let's get some encouragement. In this next clip, Pastor Jack Graham connects the bronze serpent lifted up in the wilderness to Christ lifted up on the cross, showing how Jesus became the source of healing, salvation, and life.
In this same passage of Scripture, Jesus spoke of the Israelites disobeying God, and they were dying in the wilderness. And snakes, serpents were destroying an entire nation. But God had a plan. And God told them to take a serpent, a bronze serpent, to make a bronze serpent and put it on a pole and lift it up. And Jesus reflected on that to this Jewish man and to us of the cross. He said, just as, and everyone who looked to the serpent in faith, believing, say, what is that all about? A serpent on a pole. You know, a serpent is the sign of Satan himself, a sign of sin. And he who knew no sin, Jesus, became sin for us that we might become the righteousness of God. So the serpent on the pole symbolizes the Son of Man, Jesus, lifted up, dying on the cross, becoming sin with us and for us. Jesus, I've said it many times, did not only die for our sin, but he died as our sin. He took our sin on the cross. And the cross demonstrates, God demonstrates his love toward us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. If he died for a righteous person, we might understand it, but how could God die for a sinful person? Well, that's what Jesus did. And his love, according to Paul in Ephesians, is so deep and so wide and so long. His love is so great. The depth of it, the width of it, the breadth of it, the height of it. He's trying to measure the immeasurable.
I think every once in a while we need to be reminded of that. I think we have a tendency to have a little bit of eliteness in our thinking. We're Christian and you're not.
A little bit of what in our thinking?
Eliteness.
Oh, eliteness. Yeah, like holier than thou.
Yeah, we have it, you don't. I think we need to be careful about that. One of the great experience, I'll say this carefully, but how can I say it? So I don't want it to sound like self-righteous by any means. I'm just trying to figure out how to explain it. But have you ever done anything for a homeless person?
Well, yeah. Not to the extent I could have.
Okay. It's not a judgment thing. It's just if the Lord leads you to do something like that, or go down and serve mashed potatoes at the gospel mission, and talk to somebody that comes through the line. They have a sense of simpleness about them that's amazing. I remember one time I gave something to a homeless person, and that gentleman could not stop saying, "God bless you. God bless you. God answered my prayer today. God bless you."
Mm-hmm. Well, when you don't have something, and it certainly puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
And we have to be reminded because...
Yeah, help somebody today. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories. And, of course, the big top story is, as you know, there's no such thing as a ceasefire anymore. And Iran was firing at some vessels that had flags from other countries on it. That provoked a return firing from the United States. And the United States struck several ships inside the straits last night. These are Iran ships, and also some of the ports. So this has been going on quite a while and pretty extensive. So, by the way, this was going on while the president, he ordered this while the president was at NATO in Turkey. Kind of interesting. But nevertheless, the president said, well, this isn't going to last very long. Really? Okay, here's what he had to say.
Anything that happens is going to be over very quickly. And we'll only make it safer, including for oil. Oil is going to be very free, very easy, and it's going to happen very fast. We have the Hormuz Strait, the boats have pulled out. I mean, there's a gusher of oil right now. We have a lot of oil. And no, anything that happens is going to happen very fast. We're not looking for long term.
Okay, so we'll see. The whole thing in the Middle East is go stop, go stop, go stop, go stop, go stop. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of wear you out. Everybody's got an opinion about it, but it just doesn't seem to ever come to a conclusion, either through peace talks or through military action. It's just like one starts, the other one stops, the other one starts, the other one stops.
Yeah.
Kind of wears you out.
And the question is, was the whole memorandum of understanding done in a way that what we're seeing today was meant to happen, or why was it so weak where the ceasefire didn't last that long? And why was it framed in a way where now Iran is saying, well, no, you violated it. They're actually accusing Washington for bringing in sanctions, starting the strikes, disturbing the shipment. So are they just bluffing, or is there something that we're not seeing they're seeing? You know, it's so hard to do it from an armchair that so many people comment on these things from. But I guess the wording in that memorandum wasn't clear enough to where both sides are now saying, well, no, you're the one who violated it.
Well, okay, so was this a bait and switch? Was this deliberate to be weak memorandum so that it could be violated? There's even thoughts that the beginning rift between President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was staged. So we're doing psychological warfare. We're sending a message to whoever's running Iran. We don't even know who's running the country. That they're winning in an attempt for them to expose more. Who knows? But the MOU didn't come about. The peace talks didn't come about. The ceasefire didn't come about, so here we are again.
Of course, there are different players, and when you're working with Middle Eastern countries, there are the actual governments, there are different groups and organizations working within them, including terrorist groups, and it's hard to control those. So, well,
the other story is, just kind of play off of what we're talking about here. Iran says, hey, following any strike against Iran, 2 immediate actions will be taken immediately. First, the Straits of Hormuz will be completely closed to all maritime traffic. And second, Iran will strike enemy targets at a ratio at least 2 to 1, meaning that every Iranian target hit and at least 2 enemy targets will be struck down. Well, this is just blowhard rhetoric. And yet, so we're in a war of words now. That's all it is.
That could turn into something else, unless
Yeah.
President Trump is correct and there is something happening we just don't see. So we just need to relax, grab a popcorn and sugar cookies, and watch the
sugar cookie. All right, the president still pretty upset about NATO. Primarily, I mean, goes to NATO right in front of everything and everybody. He criticizes a lot of the NATO allies for not helping the United States, and he makes a good point. We've been given billions to this organization. We've been given billions. We've been paying your part of the deal. We've been paying for your part of NATO. We've given you money. We've given you military. We put bases in your country. We asked for a little help, and you guys all run like scared chickens. And he really went after Spain and said to Spain, you're spineless Spain, and we're going to stop trading with you. You're done. And told NATO, stop doing business with Spain. Okay, well.
Well, of course.
It worked. 24 hours later, they decided to pay the bill.
Yes, usually that works, and he's been doing that since he took office in 16 or 17. Of course, when you look at why NATO was established, and the goal for it is to collective defense in the North Atlantic theater, does it mean that they now have to join everything that America gets involved? Some argue that no. If America decides to do military action with another country in this world, it doesn't mean that NATO now has to be on board. So I can see that argument too, because that's not the point of NATO necessarily, unless one of them is being attacked.
I think it voids NATO. NATO as a coalition, we're going to protect each other.
Right, but what are we protecting?
And if the coalition's going to fall apart because we're not going to protect each other, then what good is it?
No, I see your point here, but what are we protecting here with America and Iran?
It's pretty simple. It's called oil going to Europe.
Okay.
And that's economics.
And someone would need to argue that one of the nations in the NATO is being directly attacked by that conflict, right?
Well,
I'm just throwing arguments here.
Well,
why would they be against military action that the United States is involved in?
Why would they be? Well, I think first thing is they don't understand it, and secondly, they don't have the money or the means, and third, that they're so neutralized in their thinking that it's all kumbaya. It's not really defense. All you got to do is look at their own military. They don't have a military. I mean, if it wasn't for NATO, there would be no military. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but you got to ask yourself, what good is NATO and what good is the UN when all it's been is a diluting process for America, because we give money to get along, and then we ask for a little help, and we're giving it back. Why do we have the UN and why do we have NATO?
Great question.
I don't know. All right. Then the big thing, it finally happened. All the baloney surrounding Graham Plattner, who is the unbelievable candidate up for the Senate seat in Maine, finally suspended his campaign yesterday. Look, the allegations of this man, you got to ask yourself the question, how did he get this far? And a lot of these allegations they knew. All along they knew. But the last one was pretty bad. And so anyway, he finally pulled the plug on his campaign yesterday, or I say suspended it. That's a nice way of pulling the plug. So he's out. And so the Democrats now have till July 27th, somewhere in there, to come up with another candidate. Here's the irony of that whole case, is all of the lead big-name Democrats that endorsed him.
Yeah, did they just do it because he had a D next to him? Because he was a pretty promising candidate for the party. He was their hope in the state of Maine, where Susan Collins is running as an incumbent, and they really think that they can take that seat. Well, this guy has raised a lot of money, grassroots energy, lots of support, a lot of big names like Bernie Sanders endorsing him, and yet there have been allegations all along. Smaller ones, but yet they're like old posts he's made, even a tattoo he has. Gosh, I don't know. I didn't go investigating him, but it's not like he's a squeaky clean guy that no one knew that he had anything in his past. Those things were known, and yet he became their front runner somehow.
Well, to your earlier question, has the vetting process within the Democratic Party, is it falling apart? I mean, they're really doing their homework. How did he get this far with all of these allegations, knowing that if there's one, there's going to be more? And that was the case. They just kept mounting up. So if they did their vetting, they probably would have known that, or they were trying to cover it up. But I think there's also a part of this that you lie long enough and hard enough, you think you can actually convince people of it. But here's the real thing now that has popped up. Of all people, John Fetterman comes out. Now, he's very controversial, Democrat Senate, and quite a guy. But he comes out and he says to all of his Democratic colleagues that endorsed Plattner to apologize. Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a statement.
Yeah.
And yeah, is that a candidate scandal or is it a vetting scandal? And because we've seen this happen where they bring an outsider, and probably both sides do, and if they, maybe it's the money thing, when they see someone attracting money and energy, they put all their force behind him to elevate him to the position, hoping that some things will just stay in the past. I don't know. I've never been in those closed rooms, you probably have, where candidates are selected and then promoted. I mean, you've been in politics, so I don't know the process, the thinking process.
Well, I think the overall moral barometer for us today in media has to be The View. Okay?
Well, in that
so The
case,
View is talking about this, and she says, one of the gals on The View says, well, personally, I think he's morally bankrupt, and I would never vote for him. But I decided to endorse him because we need to forgive him. Okay, I believe in forgiveness. But what's at stake here is the dictatorship of Donald Trump. Yeah. And I go, okay, so morally and personally, you think the guy's a bad guy, but you're going to put your own moral convictions aside because your hate for Trump is greater.
Well, and of course, now let's talk about what's morally bankrupt. Is that, you know, because everyone has a different definition of that. Is that someone who's been married 3 times, or is someone who raped his girlfriend? You know, where do you draw the line between morally? Because we're all morally damaged in some ways. You know, we all make stupid mistakes and things we're not proud of, but not to this extent. And is the end justifying the means for some people?
I believe totally in forgiveness.
Yeah, and he hasn't been convicted. He's been accused.
And redemption. I believe in that. But somebody has got to want it. Okay? And this guy showed no contrition for what he had been accused of.
Right, and he's fighting for his innocence, and he has the right to do so. And until he is proven guilty, he is innocent. Yeah. And who knows? I mean, we've seen what happened to Kavanaugh on those allegations. You just never know, especially in this day and age.
Yeah. Okay, well, that means we have to take a sugar cookie break, because that is the great equalizer. It's kind of, you know.
Level it.
Not only it puts us on a sugar high for 28 minutes, then we fall asleep. We'll be right back.
Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive. And you.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go, So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox, air is life. Make it perfect.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. RVAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
theDove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. theDove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV.
Hey, welcome back. Queen is here, and she's cooking some sugar cookies over there.
Cooking the cookies.
Cooking the cookies. All right, good morning to you. A little bit of backyard news is in Oregon, the Oregon Health Plan, which actually in some cases has been rated very, very high. However, it does provide services for 1.4 million children and low-income adults. However, they got a budget problem for this next biennium, and it looks like they're going to have to figure out a way to plug the hole of $421 million. Which probably does not mean people get booted off, but it means they will curtail services and supplies and things like that. So we'll keep an eye on it.
And that's coming from the federal cuts, from the
I would imagine it's a combination of things. Probably reviewing the cuts at the federal level, along with, is there a budgeting problem here? In other words, is somebody not kind of watching the budgeting of everyday cash?
But like you said, Oregon Health Fund has actually been
rated
pretty good and been treated as an example nationwide, along with the Medicaid experiment that we had here in the state.
Okay, let's take a look at Wall Street for this Thursday morning. Thank you, Preston, over at Smart Lawn. He helps us with this. He's a great guy. By the way, have you been to his wife's ice cream shop?
Not yet. You told me about it last time.
Okay, so
I have not made it there yet.
Twin Peaks in Central Point.
That is
have the
strawberry.
Well, strawberry is good. I like
mint chip.
Mint chip. That's my favorite. Over there. All right. Anyway, the Dow's up 80. The Nasdaq is up 192, and the S&P, which is driving everything, up 33. So back into the green category after yesterday. In the meantime, that has taken gold back up a little bit, 41.33. Silver is down, but heading back up, $60.55. And crude oil down. I'm going to guess from yesterday it's about 40 cents, $77.56 a barrel.
Well, today we're taking the trip down the memory lane with our friend, Dr. Gerard Lamero. He passed away 5 years ago after his battle with cancer, but we've had him on the show for years before then. And he was pretty prophetic in some of his assessments, some of his predictions. And in one of our last interviews, he talked about the economy because he was really a student of that. And he analyzed what the Democrats were doing then and how they were making some policies. He said they're not accidental, everything is intentional. And it kind of rings true today. So take a listen.
I've studied economics. I have a PhD in modeling, but I have the equivalent of a PhD from self-study. For years and years, I've studied economics because I knew it was one of the biggest things to model, is the economy, and I have modeled the economy. And I know that from all the theory that I've read and from good economists that I've learned from, that basically you do this long enough, you'll drive any economy into bankruptcy. And that's what I think is happening. I also think it is not stupid. I hear a lot of people say, oh, these people are fools. They're stupid. They're doing ridiculous things. No, they are trying to do this. This, I believe, in my heart of hearts, is intentional. I think they want to bankrupt the capitalist system so they can take over. They can be so-called saviors of the world with their socialism by putting everybody on a welfare check. I think they love to do it. I think they try to do it partially with COVID. They got a little practice at it. They like being in control of your lives. They like telling you what you can do, whether or not you can go see grandmother on the, for her birthday or whatever, or Christmas. And look at them having the nerve to say, Biden having nerve, that if you're good, you can have a small cookout on the 4th of July. Isn't that really nice of them?
Yeah.
How ridiculous. This is a free country, and we don't want socialism. There may be a few people in Hollywood, there may be a few people in the media, there may be a few people at universities that want socialism, but most people want freedom. That's number one.
Wow. Boy, that brings back memories. Thank you for getting that.
Yeah, and not all these interviews are available on our YouTube because our YouTube was shut down during those years. But if you go on Facebook, on the DOVE Facebook page, the few of the last interviews we had with Dr. Lamero are there. And boy, he would have loved to be here for the 250th. He talked about 250 years in one of the interviews, and it's really sad, but also encouraged because he was such an optimist. The books that he wrote, Good News for America, is what kind of introduced us to him. And remember, we had him on the show right before the 2016 election. Right. His predictions came so true. That interview went viral, 130,000 views. And then he wrote more
good news,
for America. Yeah.
And then he wrote
the real world socialism.
Yes, he asked me to write one of the forwards on it, which I did for him. But look, what separated him from the pack was that he was an expert in modeling, and what that is that he took all the emotions out of it. He studied raw data and trends. And he looked at trends from 30,000-foot view, and he was able to write and predict what he did. He's absolutely right in some of the things. Well, there's one on the economics, and the other one was the demise. And he basically said not only the demise of the Democratic Party, but he also said the demise of the Republican Party. But he also feels at the end, from all 3 books that he wrote before he passed away, at the end of the day, that America will end up turning back to right. In other words, right of center. Because what's at stake here, in spite of all of the arguments, there's one thing that Americans do get across the board: freedom. They do get that. Now the question is, will they turn out and defend it by voting?
In our lifetime.
In our lifetime. Yeah. All right, Sugar Cookie. You know, there's an old Christmas song. It's a cowboy Christmas song. I used to play it on the radio years ago, to the point where people hated it.
Oh.
And it's dealing with sugar cookies. It's an old country, sugar cookies,
Sugar cookies. Is that like about a cookie or about a girl he's in love with that he's calling a sugar cookie? You don't remember?
Well, see, you understand country music.
Yeah.
You take an old country western song and you play it backwards. The guy's dog comes home, okay? His pickup truck starts to run again. Anyway,
and the cookie.
And his wife welcomes him back. We'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
The Black Barn Kitchen and Deli is a farm-to-table restaurant located in the historic schoolhouse in Jacksonville. Offering upscale dining and casual fare, enjoy brunch, deli, and dinner, featuring local source ingredients we grow. A warm sense of comfort greets you as you're surrounded by stunning artwork by my wife. We're a community-based business. With every sandwich you purchase, we give one back to our community. It's a feel-good experience. Come visit the Black Barn Kitchen and Deli in Jacksonville.
Having Kelly's be an automotive shop that takes care of people first is everything that you could hope it could be. Customer service and caring about others first is extremely important, and why we come here and why we keep coming here, and now why our children come here. The first experience they had with Kelly's, got in right away, took care of them, was honest with them, and they were like, I'm going nowhere else but Kelly's from here on out. And so just in one experience, you have 18-year-old kids being like, that's where I'm taking my car.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Okay, good morning, Kalina, and me, and sugar cookies.
No sugar cookies today.
You know, you said you're not a good baker. Okay, but you are on one item.
Yes.
And what's it called?
Honey cake.
Honey cake.
Yeah.
But it's layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have to bake each layer.
I'm trying to think of the biggest one ever. I think it was your wedding. Wasn't that like a 100-layer thing that your mom made?
Yeah, because and we had 3 tiers, so that by definition made it the biggest you've probably seen. But it was all, it's just, you know, small, bigger, and biggest.
Is that a Russian thing?
The honey cake?
Yeah.
I think so, although you can probably find similar creations in other countries. But it is more, like in Russia, desserts are laborious. You don't just mix 2 things, throw it in the pan and get like, and get something out of it. You can, but then it's like, why?
No, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like all these cakes we have there, they take forever. But maybe that's why we don't make them as often.
Well, that's good, because it makes it really special then when you do
it makes it special, and it help the girly figure going.
Okay, we'll go with the girly figure thing. All right, 26 minutes before the hour, we're going to check back in with our good friend Chris Mitchell over at CBN News. And is Israel and the United States at a crossroads now with Iran? Let's take a listen.
It is Thursday, the 9th of July, 2026. We're going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where the U.S. is keeping up its strikes against Iran, but Iran is fighting back, launching drone and missile attacks against U.S. allies in the region. And in Tel Aviv, a key Democratic Party leader says Israel's relationship with the United States is at a crossroads. CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell has the story.
The U.S. carried out a second round of strikes against 90 Iranian targets yesterday. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks against U.S. allies Bahrain and Kuwait and threatened to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Before leaving the NATO summit in Turkey yesterday, President Trump blasted Iran.
They want to make a deal, but they don't know how to make a deal, and then they go around shooting ships at night. I don't like that.
The president also signaled major policy shifts in the region, implying he'd sell state-of-the-art F-35s to Turkey, a move opposed by Israel. He also said he will remove Syria from the state sponsor of terrorism list.
I think I will, yeah. I think I will. Why wouldn't I? He's done a great job.
That drew criticism because Syria's new president, Ahmed al-Sharaa, formerly led an al-Qaeda affiliate, and his government has allowed atrocities against minorities, including Christians. While military tensions continue, another battle is unfolding over the future of the U.S.-Israel alliance. On Wednesday, prominent Democrat Rahm Emanuel, former chief of staff to President Obama and a potential presidential candidate in 2028, gave a landmark speech in Tel Aviv. He questioned if America should fundamentally redefine its relationships with Israel, a relationship he says is at a crossroads.
It cannot stand or survive as it has been. To maintain the strength of our ties, this alliance needs significant changes and a new direction.
Emmanuel cited a dramatic drop in support for Israel.
In 2022, 55% of Americans held a favorable view of Israel. Today, it is 37%, and it is dropping.
Emmanuel said the new direction means the U.S. needs to stop unconditional support and blame Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Unconditional support has produced a prime minister who has presumed that his strategic interests would incur no political costs if he ignored America's concerns about settlements and sparked a regional war. Unconditional support has allowed you to deny food and medical relief to innocent Palestinians in Gaza.
Netanyahu's supporters counter that Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran ignited the regional war. They also argue Israel has facilitated hundreds of tons of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now with more. So let's begin with Rahm Emanuel. What's the reaction in Israel to the speech?
Well, you could say predictably on the left, they applauded the speech. They applauded the fact that he was criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu. There's an election coming up in a few months, so a lot of this provided some ammunition for some of Netanyahu's political opponents. Those on the right believe that he was interfering in Israel's democracy. And what it does signal, Ephraim, is what would happen in a possible future Democratic administration. We saw what happened with President Biden, but this may take it a step even further. He didn't talk about it necessarily, but could this mean that there would be an arms embargo against the Jewish state? So it really is a window, I think, into what some of the Democrats are thinking. Perhaps not as strident as some of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, but certainly maybe what the Democratic establishment is thinking. So this is a pretty landmark speech in many ways, I guess a bellwether of where the Democratic Party is going.
Many Democrats are criticizing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Are some in Israel worried it's only a small step from being critical of Netanyahu to simply opposing Israel and its policies?
Yeah, some people think it's a one step towards delegitimizing or questioning the legitimacy of the Jewish state. This is something that a lot of people have been talking about, in some of our coverage. For example, earlier this year, there was something called Judeo-Christian Zionist Congress. There was also something called the Summit, the Jerusalem Summit, led by the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. And then there was something else called the Eighth Front, meaning that the real important battle that Israel's facing is the very idea of its legitimacy. The Eighth Front being the narrative, the seven fronts being the military battles that Israel's been facing. But this Eighth Front, this whole idea that that Israel is delegitimized, and many people say Israel may be the first target, but it's not the last. And it's actually an attack not necessarily on Israel itself, but a larger attack on Western civilization. That's what the Eighth Front is concerned about. That's what Judeo-Christian Zionist Congress. And there's become an unprecedented alliance of Christians and Jews coming together because they both see a threat not only to Judeo-Christian values and Western civilization. So that's why they're allying. And this speech, I guess, targets some of that delegitimizing of Israel.
Well,
I'll have to get Chris back for an
yeah,
update.
he always gives us time, but boy, what a busy guy. But I don't know. I think we're where we always thought we would be. We just got there late, and that is we can't get a deal. The conflict is still there. I think everybody knew that. What was hoping for diplomacy, but it didn't materialize. So now it's back to this. The other thing we don't understand. We just don't understand the Middle East. We don't get it. I mean, we don't understand Turkey. We don't understand the Israel. We don't understand Syria. We don't understand the Abrahamic Accord. We don't understand Saudi Arabia. We don't even understand Qatar letting us have a military base there, but one of the great providers of terrorism worldwide. We don't understand all that stuff. We don't understand Shiites and Sunnis.
Yeah, and we think we are the melting pot. Not
Yeah.
to criticize America,
Yeah.
but I oftentimes think back to where I grew up in Siberia, far, far away, and it's historically a pagan land, so there are a lot of non-Christian people there, and we have a few Orthodox churches, we have a Catholic church, we have a mosque, we have Baptist, you know, so we have different churches, and we have a synagogue, and they don't just coexist, they actually are very friendly with each other. And I'm always impressed at how they congratulate each other on holidays. They totally disagree on their spiritual matters, the Catholics and the Jews, or the Muslims and the Orthodox, but they still able to love each other, and it's so beautiful and nothing to be afraid of, because it's possible.
Yeah.
And here we don't always know how to do it. I'm not saying, maybe it has nothing to do with the Middle Eastern issues we're discussing today, but I don't think we're going to be able to change the world to be, the world will never be in America. But can we?
No, you can't Westernize everything.
Yeah, but can we work with that part of the world?
We should learn how to do that. We should learn how to do that. That's why, well, we can get way too down in the weeds here.
And
Okay.
then we'll get emails.
Okay, let's check out the weather. That's a nice place to go.
Here's a look at your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s this evening. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue across the region. Salem and Eugene reach 83, while Albany and Corvallis top out near 82 with a calm north wind. Sunny across central Oregon with afternoon highs ranging from the mid to upper 80 through Prineville, Bend, and Sun River. Boise turns much hotter with a high of 95. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay starts with patchy fog before turning sunny and 67. Port Orford stays sunny and breezy with a high of 65. Brookings near 59, and Crescent City is mostly sunny with a high of 64. In southern Oregon, sunny weather continues. Grants Pass warms to 89, Medford 92, Ashland 88, and Cloud Falls reaches 89 before returning to the 50s overnight. Across Northern California, sunny skies in Wairika with a high of 94, sunny and hot in Redding at 104, and Chico at 99, while Fort Bragg stays mostly sunny and 58. In the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs in the mid-80s. San Francisco sees mostly sunny near 70, and San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, sunny conditions in Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reaching 95. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield climb to 99 before lows tonight cool into the upper 50s and low 70s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, good morning to you. Back at it, Jerry's hysterical journal. Historical journal. She's doing fine. He's doing fine. He was on the show yesterday. He's got a surgery ahead of him next week. We'll see how that all goes. Pray for him. In the meantime, he does these interesting stories. On this day in history, the largest tsunami ever was recorded.
On July 9th, 1958, one of the most incredible natural disasters ever recorded unfolded in a remote Alaskan fjord. A powerful earthquake triggered the collapse of nearly 90 million tons of rock and ice into Lituya Bay. An eyewitness said it sounded like an atomic explosion and was reportedly heard 50 miles away, creating an unimaginable wall of water. The resulting mega tsunami raced across the bay and surged an astonishing 1,720 feet up the mountainside, higher than the Empire State Building, the highest tsunami run-up ever documented. The wave stripped entire hillsides bare, snapped millions of trees like toothpicks, and left a scar that's still visible today. Remarkably, because the bay was so isolated, only 5 people lost their lives. More than 6 decades later, Lituya Bay remains a dramatic reminder of the incredible power of nature.
Wow, 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 wow. Good stuff.
Well, good news for all you book lovers. A new Pew Research study shows that books are still in, and more people are opting out for print books versus ebooks and audiobooks. In fact, 64% of Americans who were asked for this survey say that they do read a physical book. And when you start looking at demographic differences, it's college graduates that are more likely to read books than those with less education, and the younger adults are more likely to use ebooks and audiobooks than older Americans. Are you into audiobooks or ebooks?
No, if I'm going to read a book, I want it in my hand.
Okay. I've done ebooks for, well, on my phone I've done some books, but I do audiobooks for novels, for things I read from a book club, which I don't do much, usually just a few books a year when I have to. I'm more into more serious reading, and those I like to hold in my hand.
Yeah, it's...
Do you think books will ever go away?
No, I don't. I just... I wish I really had the time to read more. So when I read, I read in spurts. But you know what really drags me down from reading more? I read legal documents every day, and I'm not an attorney, and I am a slow reader, and so I really have to concentrate. And if the phone rings and I'm right in the middle of reading a document, I have to start all over again. You know. But I enjoy reading, you know. I have several things on my nightstand. I have magazines that I read for pleasure. You know, I love reading flying magazines. I subscribe to quite a few of them. But just wish I had more time to do it.
Yeah, well.
You got to be uninterrupted, you know. Take a book and sit out under a tree somewhere and read it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's such a perfect
right,
picture.
We're going to take a tree break. We'll be right back.
Life is never ending. Your words bring us love that never fails. Everything else will fade away. But one
Being in business is challenging. At Network in Action Southern Oregon, we're all about real connection and real growth. We value your time with once-a-month meetings and believe in transformational relationships rather than transactional ones. We have 3 groups in the Valley, a Christian group, a Medford group, and a Grants Pass group, all filled with amazing local professionals. Network in Action Southern Oregon, so much more than just networking. Find out more at sonetworking.com.
Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementsspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
Okay, welcome back. 10 minutes before the hour, and thank you, Polina. Yesterday got Mark Manila on with us. He is the host of Financial Issues, which is a great program that we air here on the Dove Television Network. It's all Christian financial issues done from a biblical and Christian perspective. And I asked him about the big T, the Trump accounts, getting a lot of attention these days. And the president did not want his name on those accounts, but the group that was putting all this together in corporate America, who was going to donate all this money, because it's corporate and individual money matching with government money for setting up these accounts, they said, oh, no, we're going to call them the Trump accounts. Kind of like Trump RX.
Yeah, it's got a name recognition.
Oh, got a little name recognition. Anyway, aside from all that, what are the Trump accounts? Well, here's what Mark had to say.
Yeah, okay. It discriminates against Christians.
the bottom line. It really does. The investment account that they allow, when it goes into the account then has to invest it in an S&P 500 index fund. There's only one that they're utilizing right now. And I just don't want to give it any credit, so I'm not going to name the one it is. But an S&P 500 account or ETF, what it does is invest in the larger companies in America, the 500 largest companies in America. Now, that sounds fine because it could help with our economy, it could help with the markets, stabilize them a little bit. But here's the deal. Over 70% of those companies are involved in things that most Christians would avoid at all costs. Abortion, pornography, addictive products. How about promoting and encouraging sexual immorality, anti-God and anti-family values? So what they're asking Christians to do, and as you know, stewardship is a big deal. That's what Financial Issues is all about, helping people to realize that they can manage God's money in a way that honors God. Well, this goes just the opposite. They're asking believers to choose between, I guess, this opportunity and obedience to God's word. And that's just not right.
Well, I think, again, you're taking corporate America, you're matching it with federal dollars, and you're creating a Trump account for your children. Okay. But you're taking corporate dollars from organizations that are diabolical to your beliefs. Mm-hmm. So do you really want to do that? Say, it's just accounts for your children. Well, is it the little leaven that spoils the whole lump?
I don't know.
See, so does your convictions across the board determine how you do business and where you do business? Have you noticed on just watching general television today how subtle it is where they slip in all this woke stuff on you?
Right, or you have a savings account in your bank. Obviously, they use your money for something.
Yeah.
What do they use it for?
See, and if you're going to drive a certain brand car, they're probably one of the major contributors to something that you totally disagree with.
Or you still use the account, and you help your kids get financially stable, and then they can invest it into
what they want to do. All right, and the Dove. There we go.
All right. Do we have time?
Yeah,
we have time.
Yeah.
Are you a rower? What do you call those? Those who row?
Row a boat.
Yeah, what do you call a person who does that?
I'm a paddle guy. No.
Okay. All right. Well,
but rowing a drift boat, Jason's very good at that. I'm not.
Okay. Well, here's a woman that just broke some records, and Jerry has the story.
Kelsey Flendler became the first American woman to row solo from California to Hawaii, completing the grueling 2,400-mile journey in just 43 days. That's not only a new women's record, it also beats the previous men's record by more than a week. Alone on the Pacific Ocean for over a month, Flendler battled rough seas, powerful currents, scorching sun, and complete isolation. She crossed the finish line in Honolulu just in time to celebrate her birthday, where more than 100 people were waiting to welcome her ashore. Along the way, she also raised $30,000 to support the physical and mental health of Colorado River rafting guides, proving this remarkable journey was about more than just breaking records.
Could you be isolated that long?
No.
And row at the same time?
I'd rather be on the beach somewhere with a book.
Yeah, well, in today's modern technology,
you
got GPS and satellites, and you can stay connected, and away you go. So, wow, that's what an accomplishment. Wow. Well, coming up, Mike Tadlock's going to be back with us, chaplain for the Portland Trail Blazers and the author of Compelling Faith in a Compromising Culture. Well, we have a little discussion with him.
We do?
Yeah. What's going on with the Trailblazers? Are they going to go to Nashville?
Oh, that's right.
I wonder if Portland's going to lose the Trailblazers. They're looking at Tennessee.
Really? I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Brad Dacus will be with us. It's always great to have him around. We have a lot to talk about. What is the deal with the Southern Poverty Law Center finally getting challenged?
Well, he's definitely challenging them with his open letter, because they've been going after the Pacific Justice Institute.
I take with you Matthew 11:29. Jesus said, "My yoke upon you, or take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Take that with you today.
Season to Shine, a new inspiring program for women. Through meaningful and relatable conversations, we'll help you discover God's purpose in every season, empowering you to shine. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 4 p.m. on the Dove TV.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV. The triumphs and challenges of the global church. Christian World News, weeknights at 5:30 on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and been looking forward to having back with us today a very special guest. Mike Tadlock's back with us. He is the lead pastor at the Grace Chapel, and he's currently also the chaplain for the Portland Trail Blazers there in Portland, Oregon, or here in Portland, Oregon. He's been one of the youngest teaching professors at the Prairie Bible College and Multnomah Bible College, and is currently an adjunct professor at the Western Seminary in Portland. Frequent teacher at workshops, seminars, seminaries, and churches around the world. And his pastoral experience includes leading with urban and inner city and suburban churches. He does have a website, Vertical Pursuit. What a great name. Verticalpursuit.org is the website, Vertical Pursuit. Mike, good to see you again, buddy. How are you?
Hey, great to see you, Perry. It's always a blessing to be able to spend some time together. Good to see your voice, hear your voice, see your face. Appreciate everything you do.
Well, you're the man. When I grow up, I want to be like you.
Likewise.
Hey, I got to ask, what's going on with the Trailblazers? They're going to stay in town?
I get asked that question all the time, and that's way above my pay grade. But, yeah, I don't have any insider information. I usually stay out of those conversations, but I see good things happening. I just started working with the Portland fire too. So we've been doing chapels there, and it's been pretty amazing watching the support. And God is really doing some great things beyond what I could ever imagine in that space. So I'm praying and hoping that God's got a big plan to keep the teams here, so we can keep doing the ministry and keep doing what he's doing. We're seeing really good things with the men. We're seeing great things on the women's side. The gospel's spreading, and we're seeing great responses and turnouts. So I'm praying and hoping everything's going to keep moving forward.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Likewise, we want them to stay. All right, you man, I don't know when you sleep. You got so much going on. You recently described the culture as chaotic, unstable, deeply divided. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. It's produced a sense of hunger, unrest, and anxiety. What's your take, Coach?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, you're right. Everybody agrees our country is divided, and not just our country. Its families are divided. Churches are divided, in particular when it comes to a lot of the topics, of course, of the day. Modern, we talk about the culture wars, but those end up being very personal and divisive, and that creates that angst, that inner sense of chaos. I think people are looking at the world on a global scene, and it feels unstable. And those of us that have been around for a while, we can see trends and we can see things happen. And we know that God is in control. God is sovereign. One of my friends says it this way: the world's not falling apart; it's falling into place. And what that allows us to do is know that yes, there can be a chaos around us, but Christ in us is greater than the chaos around us. And that's the message of the gospel, is that when we put our faith in Christ, Jesus sits on the throne. He rules, he reigns. Nothing happens in this world without him allowing it for his greater purposes. And that's where we can put our faith in him and have a confidence and have a peace. But the reality is people are living in an angst. They are living in a sense of uncertainty. And I think because of that, they're looking to find a place to anchor their hope. They are looking for something that they can put their faith and trust in, because they've been let down by mankind. And the gospel tells us we put our faith in not the kings of the world. We put our faith in the ultimate King of Kings, Christ.
Dr. Barna, I've had him on the show quite a bit. He's quite a guy. In fact, we chatted on the phone the other day. And there's so much going on with this issue of the unrest that it has provoked an interest in young men to pursue faith. You know the drill. And one of the things that we find out is, when you unpack that, is that they are now waking up to the reality that maybe they've been lied to. The culture's lied to them. Governments lied to them. Maybe their teachers didn't tell them all the should be learned. It's what they left out that disappointed them, et cetera, et cetera. And it's producing a movement. And somebody has called it a silent revival. It's like it's happening, but nobody knows about it. Do you sense that?
Oh, my goodness. We talk about it all the time. I see it. My wife and I, we were just at a conference last year for professional athletes and it was a Christian conference. And it was with pro athletes. They do it football, baseball, basketball. And we're seeing, anybody who pays attention to sports right now, you're seeing this more boldness for sharing your faith, the gospel, taking knees at the end of the games, open prayers from teams, players acknowledging their faith in Christ more boldly. You can't say that that's not a move of God. It is a move of God. And I think what happens is sometimes Satan overplays his hand. And, Satan's always trying. He did that with Jesus. He thought, I've got him. Little did he know that putting Jesus on the cross, Satan thinking he's winning, was actually Jesus' set up to overcome sin and death and his resurrection and power. So Satan's always trying to work against the purposes of God, but God's plan is going to prevail. And I think what we're seeing with men right now, specifically men have been demonized in our culture, and that's part of Satan's end game. He wants to demonize the leadership of men, the identity of men, and we say it this way: we're called to disciple men where culture has demonized men, and give them a focus on a Jesus-centered masculinity. And so we're seeing so many young men. I'm part of a Wednesday night men's group that is exploding.
And most of those guys are young dudes inviting their friends, and there's a hunger out there. The statistics are saying that the largest return back to church right now is young men. And I think that, again, you push too far and Satan overplays his hand, God's going to use that to create a hunger and thirst for, right now we're seeing young men to come back to faith, come back to the Lord, and anchor themselves in their identity and their masculinity. And it's pretty exciting.
The feminization of men is backfiring?
I think so. I do a lot of, we have more time on here. I talk about actually the spirit of that feminization. You know, some people refer to like the Jezebel spirit. As we, you look at the story in the Old Testament, and you really do see, and I could break down the feminist movement in a way that would maybe expose the lies of what we've been seeing in our culture, and what that wants to do, wants to demonize men. But God has a redemptive plan for our masculinity and for women too. But specifically, we talk about men. I wrote a book called Vintage Masculinity as an example, and you can get that on Amazon. And it's a focus on a manifesto of discipleship for men. And interestingly enough, the president of Colorado Christian University, he got a hold of it. Someone gave it to him. He calls me up and he says, hey, we want every man on our campus. And they have about 1,000 men, young men on their campus. He said, we're going to make it required reading. We're going to do a men's conference, and we're going to be known as a Christian college that disciples these young men. And so I'm really excited to partner with them. But on the flip side of that, what's interesting is the number one question I've been asked by women. I've been a pastor for 30 years. The number one question I've been asked by women above any other question is, how can I get my husband to be a spiritual leader? And so two things are happening. As we disciple men, it's actually becoming a blessing to many women. And that's what, again, this president of Colorado Christian University, he said, these young women want to see a husband who loves Jesus, who's being shaped by him and passionate for him. So again, as we disciple men, it's like going upstream. You disciple men, and the trickle-down effect for them as husbands, fathers, who they are in the marketplace. You can change a society and culture when you disciple men.
So, Mike, what is it about faith that attracts a young guy?
Well, I actually think this. I think men have been in an identity crisis, and I think that we're seeing, again, the studies that are coming out about the anxious generation is what they call these young, both men and women. There's been books out actually called The Anxious Generation. And I think there is this heightened sense of anxiety with the world, definitely with their identity. And also what I'm seeing is these young men are hungry for spiritual mentors. There's a verse where Paul says to the Corinthians, he says, you have your thousands of teachers, but you don't have very many spiritual fathers. I became your spiritual father when I shared the gospel with you and when I gave you an example to follow. And I think what we're seeing amongst this young generation is a deep, deep hunger, not just for the Lord and their faith in isolation. They want to be discipled. They want to be mentored, which is exciting because that allows us to awaken those who are older than the young men to say, man, you can disciple, and that's going to give you a restored purpose and passion. So we're seeing a cross-generational opportunity of discipleship right now.
Do you think the American church is prepared to accept these young men because they don't look like them, dress like them, think like them, act like them, walk like them, eat like them?
Perry, I think you really hit the nail on the head. I've been having talks with our church saying, how do we prepare? Because if God is stirring a hunger in these young adults and young men, and they're coming to churches curious, the New York Times, there's so much. I can go through so many secular media outlets that are actually noticing this, and they're remarking on the amount of young men that are looking to go to church. They're open to faith right now. So on our end, I'm saying, how do we as a church prepare that when they come, they don't want to come just to attend a church service. They're looking for mentorship. They're looking for discipleship. And we need to raise up a generation of those who say, hey, let's embrace them where they're at. Let's meet them where they're at. Just like Jesus met that ragtag bunch of young adult disciple men, and Jesus met them where they're at. He invited them to come follow. So we need to do the same thing that he did, is meet them where they're at, and then take that curiosity, that openness they have, disciple them, help them have a deep relationship with Jesus. And I think that's what we have to do to be prepared for that. But not every church, I think, is ready for that.
In your writings, you warn about what you call safe Christianity. What's the warning here?
Oof. I would say when I read the book of Acts, I'm really humbled by Acts 19, where Paul says he's called to go to Jerusalem. He's called to do his missionary work. And he says something really fascinating. He says, the Holy Spirit only tells me that when I get there, I will face hardships and trials. And I think when we look at the scriptures, we are called to be bold and courageous in order to live out our faith. And I think many people, as Jesus followers, want a comfort-driven faith. We want it to be low cost, low risk, make it around my preferences and my comfort. But I just see the opposite of that in Scripture, that if we're going to follow Jesus with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength and serve him and live on mission, particularly in a culture that's hostile and maybe not as open and, like Ephesus was, with all the pagan gods and so forth. The parallels are interesting between Ephesus and Portland. They had the temple of Artemis. We got temples all over the place to Artemis and gods and deities, but we got to be bold with our faith, live it out courageously in the power of God's Spirit. And that's going to require getting out of our comfort zone. But I think a lot of Christians want a safe, low-risk faith, but it's not going to be any rewards on that in terms of fruit and seeing God use us.
So that brings up a whole other array of questions. I'm wondering just in general if we Christians are prepared to defend our faith in this hostile culture. I asked a question, I don't know how many times a week on the air. I asked 3 questions. Do you know what you believe? Do you know why you believe it? And can you gracefully defend it? And I'm wondering if we believe what we believe to the point we're willing to take hits for it. And I'm wondering if that is also an attraction for young men.
Wow. Perry, that is really great observation. I will say this, what I love about the young generation is that they are a no-nonsense. They don't want flash. They don't want hype. They want authenticity. They want realness. And they do want something that will require their whole devotion. They're not looking to come in light. They want to go all in. And that is inspiring to all of us to see the willingness for them to say, hey, if I'm going to follow Jesus, let's go all the way. But to your point, I think we have to be better at equipping as the church so that we can have a reasonable defense for our faith. We can articulate our apologetic. We can know what we believe. We can make a case for what we believe, both from a theological standpoint, but even from a personal testimony standpoint, and the confidence to be able to stand on what we believe and know. But I'm not sure most believers can do that. I think that's where the church has, personally, I can say this, I think we've dropped the ball where we've tried to make churches easy for people to come in, but we don't give them the tools. And I think that we need to be better at that.
The old saying is, come in as you are and leave as you are. What's the point?
That's so true. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. And I think that's where I can only speak for our church, and we talk about vertical pursuit. That's kind of our discipleship hub. And we say it this way, it's for our church and from our church, and it's going way beyond our walls. But that God's given me a passion to develop that, and we are working on, even right now, developing a discipleship training school so that we can help folks have a confidence in their faith, to be equipped so that they can go out, live on mission. And we're seeing opportunities like that all over the place, where if we can raise up, we want to be a church that's a discipleship hub. People come, they get equipped, and then we send them back out. Because it's interesting, when Jesus said, and I'll say this last thing, when Jesus said to his disciples, you will do greater things, that word in the Greek, greater, it's the word mega. And I tell our church, and they get a kick out of this, I'll say this on a Sunday, hey, God's given me a vision that we would be a mega church, but not by the standards of how big we are. So I say it this way, Jesus' definition of a mega church is not the size of your seating, the size of your sending. That's what Jesus has in mind. That's his vision for the church, is that we would let people have deeply rooted faith and then release them to be sent out as disciples and missionaries wherever they live, wherever they work, wherever they hang out in their communities and neighborhoods. But we got to be better as the church of equipping, because I actually think we're in a harvest time. In a world that's crazy and chaotic, there is a harvest happening. And if we don't equip our brothers and sisters to go out and partner with what God's doing in the harvest field, we're going to miss that window.
Oh, this is excellent. All right, check out verticalpursuit.org. We'll take a quick break. That's Mike Tadlock's main website, verticalpursuit.org. There's a picture of the landing page. Check it out. We'll be right back.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music, build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace, compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. RVAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
Do events in the world leave you confused and scratching your head? A world where up is down and down is up.
I'm Perry Atkinson. Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out.
And I'm Jerry Bilden. Mornings on the Dove alerts you to issues and events the mainstream media would rather you not know or know the truth.
A lot in the news today, some movement around in the Middle East, common sense discussions on today's headlines, and rational perspective on what's really going on.
That will leave you better informed and encouraged by the gospel.
In this upside-down world, there's one place you can trust to get it straight.
Check into Mornings on the Dove each day to find out what's really going on and to be encouraged.
Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Dove TV and radio. Streaming online at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. The Dove, encouraging and informative.
Okay, welcome back. What an honor to have back with us today Mike Tadlock. He's the lead pastor up there at Grace Chapel, and he's also the chaplain of the Portland Trail Blazers. And you want to check out his book, A Compelling Faith in a Compromising Culture. There's a, did we have a picture of it? There it is. There's a picture of the book. Perfect timing, and you'll end up probably preaching from it. Get a copy of it. Check out his website, verticalpursuit.org. Verticalpursuit.org. Mike, I was trying to think during the break here. I was going to ask this question, so hopefully I can frame it right. I would say the culture's done a fairly good job in taking major tenets of our faith and politicizing them to drive us out. And we get wrapped up in that argument instead of just simply standing on what the Word of God says. What do you think of that?
Yes. Well, we know Satan's going to weaponize anything he can to carry out his agenda. And one of the things that Satan is really good at, he masquerades as light. And I think I've said this before, so I just want to, when Paul says that Satan masquerades as light, most people go, okay, yep, he's a counterfeit. He loves to take things and make them look like Jesus, but it's not really. Or he'll take things from Scripture, and he did that with Jesus. He quoted Scripture to Jesus, but he misquoted. He perverted it, and that's what he does. He has enough truth in there to make you go, oh, this is a perfect example. When Paul says that Satan masquerades as an angel of light, the next verse, he says, and his workers do acts of righteousness. The Greek word is dikanosune. It can be read, his workers do acts of justice. And I think what we're seeing in our world right now is a perverted justice. The social justice movement, it's a perversion of God's biblical justice. So there's biblical justice, and then there's the counterfeit justice. That's just one example where I think the same thing with politics. God has three institutions that he uses to carry out his plan: the family, government, and the church. And so God has a role uniquely for each and every one of those to bring his glory, to reflect his nature, his character, and to reveal his purpose. And I think we have to make sure, though, that we don't blur those, that there's a purpose for government and there's a purpose for the church, and we need to work together. But again, the gospel will redeem the world from sin. Government can't do that. Government is important. And so I think when we talk about the biblical worldview on all of these things, we need to know the Bible. We need to know God's plan for everything, because things get weaponized, and the way that Satan weaponizes them, he perverts its purpose, he redefines the terms, and he will even use things that sound biblical, but it becomes something that goes as a deception, and it becomes a distortion. And so that's why we have to come back to, what is God's word? What is God's word? Define these terms, define these issues, stand on that, and don't let Satan use it and weaponize it in the political world.
That's beautifully said. One other thing that in my conversations with Dr. Varna and his research, we live in a world where everybody's looking for identity. And I know that you deal with this a lot. But there's just an interesting part of his research that grabbed my attention with these young men coming in to the church, or investigating faith and coming in. It's not about identity. It's about service. In other words, if they come in and they're actually converted, they become a Christian and they start their journey as a Christian, they want to go help somebody. They could care less about having a title by their name. Are you sensing that?
Yes, very much so. In fact, they are, in a sense, anti-title. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. Every generation, our generation, Perry, and generations before us, and generations, every generation brings something beautiful. And then there's also things that every generation brings that is something that is unique, that maybe isn't as well, what I would say, good quality. So every generation has that. What the young generation, I think, is seeing is they're tired of the hype. They're tired of seeing the egos. They look at the egos, the platform. See, they grew up in a culture where the social media exploded, and what we have, social influencers, and everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. Everybody's trying to promote themselves. We live in a very self-promoting culture, and I think they're reacting to that. They're looking at that going, there's too much anxiety trying to live being self-made and self-promoting, and it's giving them a bad taste. So they are hungry for authenticity, and they're finding that in the form of taking the role of a servant. So it's the opposite end. Our culture is trying to climb the ladder, and people are trying to climb the ladder. And as they're doing that, they're climbing over people, and they're seeing that pathway moving up is not the way to go. But Jesus modeled that he lowered himself. He took the role of a servant. And so this young generation, they're looking at Jesus going, there's something compelling about taking the life of a lower posture to serve others, and it's more fulfilling than trying to elevate yourself.
How can we fan that flame?
Ooh. Here's the conversation that we're having is get behind their passion. Get behind their passion. And I have a daughter that's a young adult. She's married, and she actually helps me with the Portland Fire chaplain work. She's one of our chaplains. But her passion is she loves to go out on the streets. Tonight she leads in our church. She leads our homeless ministry on the streets with drug addicts and helping them find Christ, get help, get discipled. And we're seeing a lot of the young people are saying, hey, let's go serve somewhere. And I think we just have to get behind that passion and support them. I also think what we have to do is model it ourselves, because this is what they will say. They are not watching what you say. They're watching how you live. And if we're going to have any sense of rapport with them, it's less about what we say and more how we live our lives, and if it's authentic. Because one of the most consistent trends that we saw why they were leaving the church, the studies that were done 10 years ago, why young people were leaving the church, one of the number one reasons was the inconsistency and hypocrisy of their Christian parents. And so they would hear their parents say they're believers, but they watched their parents live the opposite of that. And that made them kind of disgruntled in a sense. So that's one of the reasons why they were leaving the church. But I think we're seeing many of them return and come back. And what they're hungry for is that consistent authenticity modeled in our lives.
Seems to me the other thing here, as a little bit of a sidebar, Mike, is that God is exposing this hypocrisy. We're seeing some big ministry, and I don't say this other than a broken heart. This stuff get exposed, and it's taking its toll. Some people are going down, churches are falling apart because it was not built on authenticity. And I can't help but think as young people see that, they go, oh man, there's an old saying is you don't break God's laws break you. Covenant keepers win, covenant breakers lose. So while we're looking for authenticity to draw these young people in, there also seems to be God's doing a little bit of a cleanup job over here on the side.
Well, I've noticed that too, and it breaks my heart to watch. I have close friends I've watched lose their ministries, and we're seeing it seems to be a cleaning house right now. And I know that Jesus loves his church, the bride, more than I do. And he's all about refining his bride for his return. And I think we're seeing the bride getting cleaned up right now. We're seeing the bride getting refined, and it needs to start in the house of the Lord. And it needs to start with leadership. None of us are perfect, and he's not looking for that. But there is a level to where there has to be a cleaning of house. And I think if we want to see our nation cleaned, we need to see our churches cleaned as well too. And I say that because God loves his church enough. And we also need to see restorative work done with leaders that fall, that we're not just a cancel culture throwing people by the wayside. I think we have opportunities to help restore leaders, and we have to be as passionate about that as we are about seeing the exposure. But we are seeing a cleaning house. There's no doubt in my mind that God is doing that so that he can purify his bride, purify the church, so that we can be a better representation of him. And he cares a lot about his reputation, more than our personal reputations.
That's beautiful, Mike. Thank you for saying that so well said. Good to see you, buddy. I don't know.
Great to see you, too. I always enjoy hanging out. It is always a blessing.
Oh, you're a guy. I need to send you some of this coffee we promote here. It'll make you walk on the ceiling at night. Maybe you need some of that.
I would love it. I'll take some of that. It sounds good to me. Anytime.
All right. Check it out. verticalpursuit.org. That's his website, verticalpursuit.org. And if you're in the Portland area, go to Grace Chapel. Visit them. Man, help them. God bless you, my friend. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Perry. Always great to see you. God bless.
You too.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Come on, Steve.
Do events in the world leave you confused and scratching your head? A world where up is down and down is up.
I'm Perry Atkinson. Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out.
And I'm Jerry Bilden. Mornings on the Dove alerts you to issues and events the mainstream media would rather you not know or know the truth.
A lot in the news today, some movement around in the Middle East, common sense discussions on today's headlines, and rational perspective on what's really going on.
That will leave you better informed and encouraged by the gospel.
In this upside-down world, there's one place you can trust to get it straight.
Check into Mornings on the Dove each day to find out what's really going on and to be encouraged.
Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Dove TV and radio. Streaming online at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. The Dove, encouraging and informative.
Welcome back, and well, it's been a while and always a joy when we have time to sit down with Brad Dacus, the president of the Pacific Justice Institute. You can go to pacificjustice.org or pji.org, and boy, Brad and his team, gosh, these guys are great. They're all over the place fighting for your rights and your freedoms. Support them, so go to pacificjustice.org and check it out and help them out. Brad, good to see you, buddy. I've been reading some of your press releases, and I go, wow, you are up to your eyeballs in this stuff, and I have no idea when you and your team sleep, but at the same time, I'm reading some victories. Congratulations, buddy.
Oh, thank you. God continues to bless our work. You know, Perry, it's interesting. I've been doing this constitutional kind of case work for about 30 years now, over 30 years, and PGI has been around almost 30 years. And I have never seen the success rate that we are experiencing in the last 2 years. It's sort of a parallel with the revival that's taking place. In the same way, we're seeing tremendous grace and victories in the courts. So it's an exciting time we live in, and we just want to ride the wave, if you will, as far as God allows us to do it and to follow His direction. It's exciting.
Do you sense this is kind of like a reset from God on morality?
Yeah, and I heard your guest before me, and I agree with him. I think God is purifying His church in a way, bringing in authenticity, and I'm actually very encouraged by it. I think it's real important, and accountability and relational Christianity as opposed to just check the box, go to church Christianity. I think that's becoming more relevant, and the Gen Zs are really seeking that, and young men who are Gen Zs are, it's unbelievable. They've increased in just a few years by 50% the number who think religion is very important. They've gone from 28% to 42% in a very short period of time. They attend church now more than baby boomers or millennials. So God is doing something very exciting. And so that's one reason why we at Pacific Justice, we work hard in the courts. We work hard with regards to the legislatures and getting exciting things passed in states like Texas and Louisiana, et cetera, Idaho. But also it's exciting to see the empowerment and enablement of church bodies saying, we're not going to do the same old. We're going to reach out. We're going to share Jesus. We're going to minister. We're going to get off the bleachers and onto the field. It's an exciting time we live in.
All right, let's take a look at some of the things the Supreme Court has done lately. Some of these decisions are now out. Of course, one of the ones that's just quite remarkable, 6-3 decision to not allow girls or boys to play in girls' schools, or sports, not allowing boys to play in girls' sports. What was so interesting about that decision is two things from my perspective. One was the term transgender got dropped. Okay, it's boys wanting to play in girls' sports, and the term transgender got dropped. And the other thing that was amazing to me, the three that voted to keep boys in girls' sports were 3 female justices. What's your take?
Yeah, it's really sort of illogical because, back in the 70s, it was those on the liberal side who were pushing for women's rights, I think, very, very strongly. And yet that political establishment, if you will, I think has been hijacked, and now they are putting women on the back of the bus or under the bus to try to push new radical social agendas like the trans movement, et cetera. So, but it is interesting. The court stepped back and said, what is truth? What is reality? Male is male, female is female. That's reality. And because someone has an inability to come to grips with reality doesn't mean we need to change our entire system of law and how we protect girls pursuant to Title IX, which is a civil rights statute, in addition to the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. So these were two major hits, not just one, two major power hits, making it very clear a man is a man, a woman is a woman with regards to civil rights statutes, with regards to Title IX, as well as the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. Huge, huge precedent that we're planning on building on in the months and years ahead.
All right, so it goes to the states, much like Roe versus Wade did and has. So it comes to the states, and it's going to be a state argument now. What does a parent do when their school district allows boys to play in girls' sports?
They should contact Pacific Justice Institute immediately. And I don't say that tongue-in-cheek. That's exactly what we're looking for, because the Supreme Court has answered the fundamental legal question. What does Title IX mean? Title IX was passed to protect girls and girls' sports from boys competing in girls' sports. Now, the administration has already made efforts with executive order to say we're not going to give funding to states that are not complying with this. So California, Minnesota, you're not going to get funding. We're challenging that. Those states were pushing back. But now we know clearly what Title IX means. So anyone in any blue state out there in particular, or anywhere in the country where this is happening, they should contact us immediately, because now is the time for us to ride the wave on this momentum. We have the red states are already safe. They're protecting girls. We now have the opportunity, though, with this case law to now say, blue states, not only may you do this, but you must do it to comply with Title IX and arguably the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
Will this become a parental rights issue?
Yeah, it's parents' rights as a part of this. I would say definitely in terms of, especially when it comes to the locker room issue, which is also going to be a part of this bill, this precedent that we're going to be looking for. As parents' rights to protect their children from being visually violated and looked at while they're naked in a locker room by a biological teenage boy who's totally stripped and naked in front of their teenage daughter. I'm being very explicit because we need to deal with this from the reality of what we're really talking about. So that's a parents' rights issue. We think this precedent is going to bleed over into other areas of application, including the locker rooms, the bathrooms, in public schools. This is a solid momentum in the right direction, and we're going to be working and building off of it as we speak right now.
What does a Christian school do whose team is playing in a league where the team they play allows for a biological boy to play on that girl's team? What does that Christian school do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would encourage the Christian school to contact Pacific Justice Institute immediately, so we can give them an understanding and a synopsis of where we are, where the precedent is and what their rights are and how to address it. You can address it with a direct legal challenge. You can address it with a legal demand letter, or lawsuit. Legal demand letter usually comes first, or you can also deal with it in terms of public opinion. And we at Pacific Justice work hard to use those vehicles that we've been blessed with to create public opinion and public pressure. But they should definitely contact us at Pacific Justice Institute. There's some strong arguments that can be made to challenge that. We've seen private Christian schools have to make the decision, okay, we're accepting the loss. We're not competing. And it shouldn't be that way. I think with the building of the case law, I think we have a good shot at potentially challenging that. But they need to definitely contact us.
Well, because that's my concern. I mean, at what point can you take this federal law, make it stick at the state level? I mean, we're not one state, we're 50. And so if a Christian school is forced to do a buy and walk away and take the loss, I mean, is that really fair?
No, it's not. And that's why, like I say, they should definitely contact us, particularly if we're dealing with a public schools team competing with a private Christian schools team that has religious objections. Whenever you bring in the government as an actor, that kicks in an element of constitutional scrutiny that we don't necessarily have with just private entities. So that's just one of the factors we'll be looking at, and that's why parents should contact us. Schools should contact us. We've helped private Christian schools on deal with many kinds of different issues over the years. ACSI has used us as their legal arm, if you will, during the pandemic. So schools should definitely contact us. We never charge for any of our work, and we have a very high success rate as we move ahead. We don't just file lawsuits to file lawsuits. We put our clients first, and we look at all the options available for them to get justice.
All right, let me take a quick break. We've got more to talk about. PacificJustice.org is the website. Please go there, familiarize yourself. Get on their e-blast list so you can kind of keep track of the things that they're working on in your behalf, and certainly support them. PacificJustice.org. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Real Life with Jack Hibbs, now on theDove TV every weekend. Direct from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice the biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Okay, welcome back. Always an honor to have with us Brad Dacus. He is the president of the Pacific Justice Institute, and you can see his program here on the Dove Television Network. We are certainly honored to carry it. This guy and his crew, they're all over the place working in your behalf. All right, Brad, I need to go to the hot potato, and that is the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I've been following your activity there. It's really amazing. You did write a letter to the president, Ryan Haygood, and in the meantime, Pacific Justice now has been labeled as a hate group. Well, you're coming up in the world. What's going on?
Yeah. Along with Focus on the Family and Family Research Council and Billy Franklin Graham's ministry and he and his ministry, it's they go after just about anyone who believes that the Bible's the Word of God and preaches the Bible as the Word of God. That's what they do. Their goal is to create enemies and create division. It's very demonic and to profit from it. It's a racket. It's they started off on a good note, attacking the KKK and bringing justice in the South, dealing with some of these issues. But then when they won their battle against the KKK, they realized, we're not going to make a lot of money if we just keep it to them. So let's start expanding our quote unquote hate group definition. And now it includes born again Christians. If you believe the Bible is the Word of God, if you believe what the Bible teaches about LGBTQ lifestyles, then you're a hate person. and they're going to attack you. And they've attacked Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, for example, Dr. James Dobson. Coral Ridge Ministries was attacked. I mean, you name it. If you're preaching the Word of God and teaching from the Word of God, you're going to be under attack. And we at Pacific Justice decided enough is enough. We're going to call them out. And that's exactly what we did with the video and the letter that I sent out saying, look, we'll sit down with you, raw, unedited. You make your case against Pacific Justice Institute. And for that matter, the other ministries you've attacked, we'll rebuttal and let truth come to the surface. Their first president has since stepped down. We sent out a second one to the new president, Brian Fair. We have not heard from him. So we'll see what happens. But, enough is enough.
They have this case has come to the surface, and what also has come to the surface is those who blindly were sending them money. Has that stopped?
Yeah, we don't know if it is stopped, but that's something that we're monitoring very closely. We're giving a grace period because I think there were many who are supporting it, thinking that they're somehow doing a good thing, supporting a group that's fighting the KKK or whatever. But in reality, a lot of them simply, I don't think, knew what was going on. And now that this is coming to the surface publicly, and even Congress has addressed them, and of course the Department of Justice is prosecuting them for wire fraud and a number of other legal improprieties, things that they've done illegally, allegedly, blatantly. Now that this is happening, people are becoming aware of it. So we've given a grace period for entities to stop their association with SPLC, to stop funding SPLC. But that said, those that continue to do so can expect major public scrutiny. And that's all I'm saying right now, publicly.
Okay.
But major public scrutiny. There'll be a price to pay for supporting this evil, hate-filled racket that has become the number one private entity against the church, against Christians, and against people of even Orthodox Jewish faith.
All right. They've been very much in the news. They received a lot of attention. The hypocrisy has been exposed. There are some litigations against them. What about the fact that they would take all these Christian groups and individually label them as hate groups? Is that defamation of character?
Unfortunately, it probably isn't. And the reason is because in order to have defamation or libel and slander, you have to basically prove, you have to have a statement that's not just an opinion, because I can say so-and-so is a bad person or so-and-so is, I think they're dishonest. Those are very broad opinion statements. You can do that. But what you have to show for defamation, libel, slander is you have to show that it is factually incorrect, number one. Number two, you also have to show that it caused harm, that it hurt that person. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And if they're a public figure, you have to also show that you did it maliciously and intentionally, and that's a very difficult thing to prove. But so it's not easy to make that case. And I am very confident, looking at their materials, Perry, that they have legal counsel that is showing them how to get right up to the edge and cause their damage and their hate without crossing the line of defamation. And so that's why we've been looking and scrutinizing their material. It's very obvious they have legal counsel that showing them how they can further hate, label, defame entities and ministries without subjecting them to direct defamation lawsuits.
Are they anti-Semitic?
Oh, I think so. And I think we've seen that exhibited as well by some of their, defenses, if you will, of radical Islam and the radical Islamic agenda. Just about everything that this entity supports is evil. Just about everything that they oppose is good. I tell you, they have the largest private entity that is supporting evil and encouraging evil and fostering evil, in my opinion, in this country. That's why they have to be exposed. Yeah. That's why they have to be brought down.
I realize you can't comment too much, but at the end of the day, is there support-based public knowledge, or can it be?
To some degree, there's some degree of public knowledge to it, where I can't comment more than that. You're well said.
Okay, okay. Because the point being is that would be the one thing that drives them up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it definitely would, because they're a nonprofit 501c3.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some hate mongers out there, if you will, who maybe in Hollywood and radical entities that are still going to be arm in arm with them, and are anti-Semitic and anti-Christian and anti-what's good. But the bulk of their funding comes from large entities, foundations, corporations. That's where we're going to see, I think, a lot of drying up of support.
Yeah.
As those entities realize what they're doing is going to be very bad for their business, very bad for their foundations.
That's got to be tricky too, because if you expose that, that's a two-edged sword. I see where you're going. We'll be praying for you. All right, before I run out of time, what are some of the other things you're working on when you're not sleeping? which is never.
Well, we have big things we're doing, but also, like, for example, in Oregon, we've got a family, a Christian family. They had their child taken from them because they would not affirm gender confusion. And no Christian loving family would ever do such a thing to a child. That child was removed from that family for that reason. And we are moving on that and litigating to try to get that child restored back with their Christian parents. And it's really important people understand what we're talking about here, because if a child is just left alone and stays, say, with their family, and there's no one encouraging it, then that child the overall majority of those children will no longer have that gender confusion by the time they graduate from high school. This is a mental condition. It is nothing biological or genetic about it. And yet, so we're fighting the government by trying to encourage something that statistically is worse than them getting leukemia, because a child has a greater chance of recovering from leukemia and living to the age of 30 than recovering from solidified gender confusion from youth living to 30, because the suicide rate is so high. So that's why the stakes are very high, not just spiritually in terms of parents' rights, but also in terms of life and death for so many who are being demonically brought into this and encouraged into this confusion. So that's just one example. We're dealing with these all across the country. They're not high profile, but for a lot of families, it's life and death, and we take that very, very seriously as believers.
Is that over a homeschool curriculum issue?
No, it's over the parents not being willing to confirm gender confusion. That particular case. Now, we have other cases dealing with homeschooling that we've taken on and are taking on in other states like Idaho, et cetera. Those are important. We're also right now defending a Turning Point USA chapter in Arizona that's being kept out of a public high school. We have another one in New York, similar to that, where a teacher was fired because she was going to sponsor a Turning Point USA, TPUSA. So those cases are coming to the surface. We have a great partnership with TPUSA, and those are some new kinds of cases that we're dealing with as well. But right now we're encouraging, Perry, if I could just say it, we're encouraging parents out there, if there's something going on in their public schools, LGBTQ materials, parents opting out their kids, and it's not being listened to. We're just encouraging, please contact us, because we can't file lawsuits if we don't have parents. And we have great opt-out forms customized all throughout the country, all 50 states, specifically customized. If parents use that, they can protect their kids now better than ever. And if it's ignored, we have the firepower and precedent to file lawsuits like never before. It's an exciting time for parents' rights here in America.
So you see a turning. You see a turning here.
Oh, yes, we do. But we have to step up. It's like we've got these nice underhand serves, but we've got to be able to have people to help us step up to the plate to hit those babies out of the park. And we can't do it without parents stepping in and others letting us know that it's happening. And we will lovingly and carefully let them know what their rights are. We put our clients first, but we pick up all the costs, all the expenses. And it's a real joy. Our cases are increasing. We have 37 offices coast to coast, strong offices there in Oregon, Washington, California, of course. but all across the country, 147 cases in active litigation, and we help thousands without charge every year.
So are parents up against a school district that's up against a school teachers union? Is that the chain?
Yeah, that usually is. The teachers union is almost always on the other side. And we have these cases in places you wouldn't expect, like in Texas. We had a big victory in Texas, but we have more parents' rights cases coming out of Texas, I think, than anywhere in the country right now. And it's because of the teachers union and their agenda not to put children first and to undermine the rights of parents. We're going to bat in favor of the parents, and we're doing that all across the country. But yeah, the teachers union is a major problem with that. And that's why I encourage people to get involved in this election and vote for people on school boards that have not only conviction for parents' rights, but also a spine to stand by those convictions and the knowledge to contact Pacific Justice Institute if they have any issues that we can help them with to bring the teachers union in check on behalf of parents.
Brad, you're amazing, buddy. Thank you. Good to see you. You look good. And I also know that you like preaching on the weekends, so I have no idea when you're sleeping. But
I do love to preach on the weekends. I love seeing people come to Jesus. I'm expository, and I don't charge anything, and I'll pay for my flight and my hotel. So, and I preach at tiny churches just like big churches. So,
all right.
I just love to preach the word, and every Sunday I have to do it. It's a joy and delight.
All right, check it out. Check him out and get a hold of him through pacificjustice.org. That's the place, PJI or pacificjustice.org right there on the screen. Certainly support them. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Stay in the fight, pal.
You too, Perry. God bless.
Do events in the world leave you confused?
Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out. In this upside-down world, get it straight.
Watch Mornings on the Dove weekdays.
In today's world, we've become too used to hearing bad news. Why not help share a little good news instead?